Are you guys ready for another stream? Oh, we get to talk about a new Switch today for the first time since it was revealed. But now, as I look back on all the things I've done, it's all come down to this: Nintendo Prime is number one. Oh, baby! How's it going, everybody? Hope you're having an awesome day. Today, we get to talk about the Switch OLED for the first time live since it was unveiled. That's right. We have not had a live stream since Switch OLED was unveiled. So I get to address all of your concerns. I get to address probably a lot of criticism because, at least based on my last couple of videos, or last 3 videos, some people aren't quite happy with me. So we can talk about that. But today is a special day because 2 outlets in the world have gone hands-on with Switch OLED. That's right. This thing doesn't come out for like 3 months, right? October 8th. Practically 3 months from yesterday. Well, actually, exactly 3 months from yesterday. But 2 outlets have already been hands-on. IGN and The Verge. And we're going to go over their articles here in a little bit. I'll show it to you guys. We'll read them. We'll discuss things as we go here, what their impressions are, all that jazz. But before we do that, I obviously have to say hi to everyone in the chat. Let's just take a look here. Brian C is here. Welcome, my man. Fire Soul, Bamboo Baby, Seahawks 24 Rule, Jackson Belanger, Eric, Alex Anderson, Clinton McKinney, Mirror Magic, Alexis, Eho, Amor, 12321 _ a couple of our members right there. Christopher Lockhart is here, Aubrey Jackson, Nathan Washington, Birdman, Tony 0096, David Haney is here as well. David R. Khan is here. Logan LeBlanc, welcome, my man. Timothy Lay is here. Atomics Fang is here. Scrolling on down, the Notorious is here. Let's see here. Jude Kerman, Fire Soul is here. Jackson Belanger, I think I might have said hi already, but we'll say it again. Jude Kerman. Scrolling down. Joseph LeCavoli is here. Loki Ravenstorm, another member is here. Welcome, my man. Russell Cunningham. Nightbot. Hey, Nightbot's working. Really good, since I didn't log into Nightbot yet. And sometimes it doesn't work if I'm not logged in. I'm going to do that right now. The Elemental Hero of the Shadow Link, Dragon Wolf King is here. And here we go. We got... whoa, a lot of people here. Hold on. Christopher... Oh, wait, let me get back to where I was. Christopher Colazzo is here. Odyssey TC, another member. Peace, my man. Welcome to the stream. Jean-Pierre Hernandez, Seguin the Pikachu fan. Kanzaki is here. Let's see. Travis DePierre is here. Jared Eckelman is here. Joseph LeCavoli, Ricky Fakwa, APC, Eric Alex Anderson is here. Neil Augusto is here. Jacob Haas and Diego Bear 91. Those are all the people that at least... Toast is here as well. Those are all the people that at least said something in the chat. If you would like to get shouted out, I try to shout you out right now. I might not get the shout outs in later, although we do spend a lot of the stream basically talking to each other and Q&A-ing and all that jazz. So if you're asking questions, chances are I'll say hi to you if it's someone I haven't said hi to yet, and all that. So this is Friday. It's Friday, baby. We have not live streamed since my birthday on Monday. It's Friday, so we're going to get our drink on today. All super chats and donations lead to shots. I actually have a new shot class to debut today that's going to be quite insane. Although, that Nintendo Prime bastard is not getting a debut for him. He's just going to get the old classic Wisconsin, the Badger State shot class. That's what he's getting. You guys get the special one because I saw you, Nintendo Prime. I know you're out on that damn island watching my live stream. Don't you have something better to do? You bought a damn island. You bought it last week. Why are you watching me? Get a life, bro. But you know what? We'll get a couple beer shots in for that Nintendo Prime guy because you know what? I'm kind of jealous. I'm going to be visiting his island apparently on my cruise at the end of the month. So there is that. But yeah, we have a lot to talk about here with the Switch OLED. Some actual live impressions here, not just like a standard vlog video. quick reaction. Like if you saw my original Switch OLED video, I was essentially like reacting to the Switch OLED announcement as it happened. So my thoughts weren't fully formed around Switch OLED at the time, because it was kind of like a, hey, this thing just dropped. I just saw it pop up on my phone, notification. Let me go downstairs, record some audio and get a video out as quick as I could. It took a little longer than I expected. I had some other stuff in life going on at the time. But yeah, it was literally like a raw reaction that happened within like 2 minutes of that stuff dropping. So I never really got to formulate my full thoughts to do follow-up coverage. Obviously, the following day we had a Switch Pro rumor, which really pissed some people off. And then I had a video today where I focused on games, but people still got mad because I mentioned Pro. It's almost like I say Switch Pro, which I just did now. We have 40 likes on the stream. We're going to get like 40 dislikes because I uttered Switch Pro. Oh my God. Anyways, let me get a couple shots in here for that Nintendo Prime fellow out on his private island, probably with his own private yacht. I don't know how he became a millionaire, but cheers to you bastard. All right. Also, all super chats and donations, you can request songs. We are only doing copyright-free songs tonight, so you need to basically request mostly Nintendo music. Pokemon music is off the table. Pokemon does get copyright claim, but pretty much any other Nintendo game music you can request. Also, you can request the old theme song. I'll just leave it at that because that is not a copyrighted song. So thank you for that. And we got our first super chat from a member. Thank you, Logan LeBlanc, for the $1. All right. There it is. You see the new shot glass? Oh, this ain't just a shot glass. This is a Oofda Super Shooter. It's got a lot of different levels on here. So let's pour one shot in from Nintendo Prime. Let's see where that one gets up to. That one gets us up to Lars's Libation. So one shot is to Lars's Libation, and then we got to pour in another one for Logan here, and it gets up to Swen's Sarsaparilla. So you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shots in this shot glass. 6. So let's pile that in here a bit. I'm gonna let that head come down a bit, but I'm pretty sure that's gonna settle at Swen's Sarsaparilla. So I'll let that calm down for a moment. Tonight we don't have a ton of booze options. I got tons of beer. We'll do lots of beer shots, of course. I do still have some rum chata. Those are $5 and up. And then yes, we still have the tequila. This only comes out if we hit $100 in super chats and or $100 super chat in general. Like if someone super chats $100, we do a shot for the $100 super chat, and then because we crossed $100, we'd also do another shot. So it'd be 2 shots. And yeah, it'd be poured in this bad boy, this new shot glass. We have another super chat coming in. Let me finish this up quick here, and then we can start talking about that Switch OLED. Ooh, baby. That is one deep shot glass. Holy crap. All right. Let's set that super shooter away. Hey-oh. Thank you, Amo12321_ for the $5. Oh man, that's a rum chata shot. I see the thing Nintendo tweeted that turned into a meme. Zelda pointing. Also play Ballad of the Goddess, because 1 MF week until Skyward Sword HD. Oh, I got you. Before I do the shot, I will get Ballad of the Goddess going for you. That's right, baby. We're 1 week away from Skyward Sword HD. Can you believe it? By the way, we're giving away 2 copies of Skyward Sword HD. Not during this live stream, but we are giving away 2 copies. If you haven't entered, that means you haven't been watching my videos. So you don't know. So I don't feel bad for you. Also, by the way, if you guys, if we get 10 members tonight, we got a member goal up here. We will be giving away a $20 eShop gift card to one person in the chat. You don't have to be a member to win. But yeah, that's a thing that's happening if we hit our member goal today. All right, let me get this up here. We got the Ballad of the, too many computers here. Ballad of the Goddess. Let's get that playing here. You know what? How long is that version? Sure. Why not do it from the 25th Anniversary Symphony? Because we're cool like that. See what the volume level's like here when it plays. I don't think that's too bad. You guys let me know if it's too loud and I need to turn it down. We got Ballad of the Goddess going. Thank you so much, Amore. All right. First off, before I get into the previews here of Switch OLED, I want to ask you guys, what are your thoughts on Switch OLED to this point? Before I get into the previews, before we get the additional information from hands-on impressions, what are your guys' feelings on Switch OLED right now? As we stand at the start of this live stream, what are your thoughts, what are your impressions on Switch OLED? And then I'll give you mine. I've had some fluctuating thoughts over the last few days. From slight disappointment to, you know, this is alright, or to, I understand what Nintendo's doing, to, well, how I feel today. It made me reevaluate, by the way, the entire way I think of Switch. The entire way I've looked at the Switch platform for 4 years. Switch OLED made me reevaluate that. David Haney says it's good. Right now it's the Ultimate Switch. It's okay. OLED makes more sense for the light model. Meh, might pick up the dock though. Looks sweet. Diego Bear doesn't like it. I'm sold. The dock is sexy. A little disappointed about it. Cool. No performance issue. So or no performance increase. I mean, good for people without a Switch, but other than that, it's meh. You're gonna get it once you get money. Let me see here. For me, it's like circles, pointless. Life is like a circle. So life's pointless. I'd just buy the dock, but yeah, you get the Ethernet port there, which hopefully is a 1 gig Ethernet port. We didn't get that confirmed in these previews, and that sucks. Because I want to know if it's still limited to USB 2.0 speeds, or if we get that full gig Ethernet. Because that actually would be a very nice thing for online play. If we could get the full Ethernet support. All right, that was Ballad of the Goddess there. All right, let's see here. It's fine for what it is. The dock is sexy enough upgrading over someone getting a new one. Despite my opinions on Twitter, I do think it's a good thing. I just don't think it's what I expected. I need a 4K capable with a modern SoC. Okay. You got a tip from Mr. Pete? Thank you for telling me that, Birdman. See, our mods are on top of that stuff. I don't have Streamlabs open on my side. So thank you for letting me know. Oops, I don't want to download. Oh, whatever. Let me open up Streamlabs here and actually check out that tip. I appreciate, as always, our mods letting me know, because Mr. Pete, 1985, donated! Thank you, Mr. Pete, for the $1. He said, I'll probably get a Switch OLED mostly because I like to collect the different consoles. I don't know how much I'll use it, if at all. Ouch. So, before I get into these previews, I want to tell you my thoughts here for a moment. I'll get that shop board up. I want to tell you my thoughts here for a moment on Switch as a platform. So, Nintendo advertised Switch as a home console. They still advertise it as a home console, right? They've been advertising it as a home console since it was announced. Back in October of 2016, they said this is our next home console. It's not replacing 3DS. Obviously, 3DS is no longer even being made, so clearly it replaced 3DS. It also replaced Wii U. So it replaced both, right? It factually replaced their home console and their handheld, and does both. So while we all know it's using mobile hardware, we all know every system comes with a screen. So clearly every system comes ready to go portable. There's from launch, it included a dock, and they released the light version, which is portable only, but still the best-selling version was the one with the dock. So there's been a lot of thoughts surrounding all of this that makes one wonder, what does this actually mean? What does this actually entail? And it's interesting because as we've gone over the years, it's been 4 years, a lot of people still view the Switch as a home console. And I don't say they view it. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to say they view it this way. I've been reading a lot of comments since Switch OLED was announced about how badly they need to upgrade Switch. They need to upgrade this Switch to the extreme. We need that modern SoC. We need that 4K. And I kept thinking that, like, do we? Why do we? Is it because Nintendo says it's a home console? What are we comparing this to? But before I get into more of my thoughts, because the super chats are rolling right now. Vanatus712 with the $5. Thank you so much, Vanatus. He says, good to see you back on stream in honor of the return of the best Zelda character next week. Play Groose. Groose's theme. Baby. We'll get Groose's theme going for you. Again, let me know ever if the volume's a little bit too high. We'll get the shot out of the way. I'll get the song up, and then we'll get into my continued thoughts here. All right, Groose's theme. Let's see here. Got it. All right. Oh, baby. It's still rolling. Well, you know what? Josh Walker, we're going to dance to Groose's theme that's already playing, right?
Oh, baby Josh Walker, thank you for the $10. Australian.
Oh, buddy. I realized that Groose doesn't really dance. He's more of like a, full of himself, cocky jock with the pompadour. I was like, hey, I got kind of like a pompadour action going on over here. This I got a pop of something. Josh Walker says I upgraded even though I recently bought the red box Switch a few months ago. I enjoy keeping up with technology. Okay, I see that. So you pre-ordered. For those who don't know, if you live in like Australia or like the UK, you can already pre-order the Switch OLED. Pre-orders are not open as far as I'm aware in the United States yet. But pre-orders did open up at some retailers in the UK and Australia. So when he says, oh, I upgraded, it means, well, yeah, he was able to get a pre-order in. I don't know how hard pre-orders are going to get. I assume scalpers are obviously going to make it a lot harder than it would be normally. From all the polls I've seen, it doesn't seem like demand is very high for Switch OLED. But cheers, man. All right. So, getting back to my thoughts on Switch. Whoops. Baron Woods is playing. Lots of Skyward Sword music today. There we go. So getting back to my thoughts on Switch in general. For 4 years now, I've kind of been like, is it a home console or is it handheld? I play it mostly in docked mode because I'm recording footage or streaming it. But I also play handheld. I played Mario Golf almost exclusively in handheld mode in my bed. And Nintendo's been telling us it's a home console forever, and there's a lot of people that expect home console-like things from this platform, from Switch. But reality kind of hit me after the Switch OLED, because obviously Switch OLED is a base model Switch with a bunch of upgrades that make handheld play better, right? A slightly bigger screen, an OLED screen at that, so better color accuracy, brighter colors, more vibrancy. You obviously have the better sounding speakers that only help in handheld mode. You have that kickstand, which again only helps in handheld / tabletop mode, especially tabletop mode. I guess not so much handheld mode. So like you have all these things that really only fit in with a certain type of person who plays this. It doesn't really. If you own a current Switch and only play docked, why the hell would you buy this platform? There's literally nothing there besides the dock, and you could buy the dock separately if you want that Ethernet port, which might be faster, by the way. People go, "Oh, I don't need that Ethernet port. I already have dongles in my dock." Yeah, but your dongle is limited by USB 2.0 speeds. If this is a full gig Ethernet port, it's factually better than any dongle you plug into Switch because you're limited by the speed of that port. So if that Ethernet port, which someone needs to test it, if that Ethernet port is a full gig, yeah, it's better than your dongle. So that is something, but you don't have to spend $350. I think they're selling that dock for $100. So you'll be able to get that. I don't know how hard it's going to be to get at launch, but you'll be able to get a dock separately eventually. So you don't need to spend $350. And then there's the price point of this platform. But the thing is, all these upgrades help handheld mode. And I think, like someone mentioned, oh, these upgrades would make sense for the Switch Lite, not the base model Switch. Well, all the people that want 4K, and I get it, the rumors, 4K, DLSS, I get all that, that want a 4K, want a modern SoC, want this thing, maybe not to be PlayStation 5 level, but at least like PlayStation 4 Pro, right? Something like that. Do you know that this is mobile technology? Now, yes, mobile technology is well beyond what the Tegra SoC was back in 2015 today. But the modern chips that are significantly more powerful than that are also in $1,000 plus phones. So my thing is this. The Nintendo Switch is a handheld. It's a handheld that you happen to be able to conveniently dock with your TV. And I think it's about time that all Switch owners or potential Switch owners accept what the Switch actually is. This is not a home console that's competing with PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Like, for all of the power those systems have, for the 4K, for the 60 FPS, 120 FPS for certain games, for all of that goodness, you can't take them with you because they're not portable platforms. They're meant. I'm staring at my PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and my editing rig / gaming PC right now. Can't take any of those with me, really. Not conveniently, anyways. They're huge. They're expensive. I wouldn't want to throw them in a backpack to bring them anywhere. I'd almost want to pack them back in their boxes. And even then, the PlayStation 5 box, it's massive. And honestly, it's not very durable. The Xbox Series X box is actually pretty durable. The PlayStation 5 box is like very cheaply put together. Very easy to break. I don't understand why they went that method, but that's what they did. So we have to look at what reality is in some of these cases. And that reality is Switch is not meant to compete with those. Nintendo's playing its own game. And right now, nobody else is playing it. Sure, there's some portable PC things that are $800+. But reality is, when it comes to gaming consoles made specifically just to play games, even though you can play movies and stuff on them, but they're traditionally just to play games, yeah, Switch isn't playing their game. You see this thing up here? Even look at the controller that comes in when you're playing it in dock, right? This is, you can't see it, but this is the Switch entering, the Switch OLED entering the new dock, and then here is your doggo looking controller set. Look at it. You slide two controllers into a thing to get traditional controls. In what way does Switch scream to you, we're competing with PlayStation 5? Now, you could argue black and white scheme. I get that. But I'm saying like, oh, black and white scheme, PlayStation 5. Here's the thing. Switch is a handheld. And if we start to accept that Switch is a handheld, that Nintendo's provided you an option to dock with your TV, does Switch really look that outdated? Think about the 3DS. Go grab a 3DS if you own one. Play a game on it. Heck, play a Pokemon game on it. Go play any Pokemon game you want. Grab your Switch, and if you have Sword and Shield, load up Sword and Shield. And Sword and Shield, by the way, is not even an impressive game on Switch. But load up Sword and Shield. Set the games next to each other, just in the overworld. And tell me, does Switch not look like a massively significant upgrade over the 3DS? Maybe this whole time we've been looking at this wrong. Nintendo said home console because they were still trying to sell 3DSs and they stopped making Wii U's. But I think we've always kind of known Switch is a handheld. And as a handheld, does it really look that dated? Does it? I mean, there's nothing real else on the marketplace making it look dated. You have your phones, of course, right? You can argue, my phone makes it look dated, sure. But then, like, are you playing Breath of the Wild 2 on there? You know, Breath of the Wild, are you playing those kind of games on here? There are some good games on phones, by the way. But you're not playing like a Mario Odyssey on there or something like that, right? So Switch even still looks good in comparison to phones, just from the library perspective. So if Switch is a handheld, and you view it as a handheld, why are we talking 4K then? You were never going to get a 4K screen. That wasn't going to happen. That's not cost effective. The Switch wasn't going to output 4K graphics on your screen holding it. That 4K was going to be through DLSS, supposedly, and a dock. And it would be nice to see better upsampling for 4K TVs when it is docked. I'm not going to deny that. It would be better to see better upsampling to 4K on 4K TVs than what happens currently at Switch when some games don't even run at 1080p while docked, right? It would be better to see better upscaling. And you could buy an M Classic cable, which is going to make it look better on your 4K TV. I've seen it in person. M Classic is a very nice upgrade for 4K TVs, for Switch specifically. Not so much the other systems, but for Switch, an M Classic cable that's like $100 might be worth investing for you if you want better picture quality. You want crisper looking imagery. It doesn't have the ghosting effect really. It kind of sort of adds anti-aliasing even. It's crazy. Go get an M Classic cable. I can't recommend them enough. But if Switch is a handheld, and Nintendo's just giving us their equivalent of the Switch XL right now, or maybe that's an unfair comparison because the Switch XL or like a DS XL or a 3DS XL was the same system with a bigger screen, but this isn't just a bigger screen, it's a better screen. So maybe it's more apt to be like the Game Boy Advance SP. Same system spec-wise, but you telling me there's not a difference in a backlit screen versus a not backlit screen? It's kind of like, here's what the games are supposed to look like, here's what they used to look like without a backlit screen. Like, it's like night and day difference, right? It's just a superior screen because it's backlit. And that's kind of sort of what Switch OLED screens are like. OLED panels are significantly better than LCDs. So it's kind of like the Game Boy Advance SP of the Switch lineup, which again wasn't, a small upgrade, a major upgrade at the time. I'm not going to say that OLED is as important of an upgrade as a backlit screen. Obviously, being able to actually see the game you're playing is a lot more important than just having crisper colors, better, deeper blacks, and obviously just better looking overall. Like, the games actually pop on OLED. And we're going to get into those previews. But when you look at, like the DS Lite, as Firestorm brought up, hey, look, Switch Lite, literally the same naming convention. If it wasn't obvious Nintendo was treating this as a handheld, it should be obvious at this point. We got the Nintendo Switch, home console, and then they gave us the Lite. Doesn't even dock with your TV. And the Lite name is exclusive to their handheld lineup. They did that back in 2019. And now here we have a slightly bigger screen, a better screen, a few improvements in terms of quality of life improvements, the kickstand. Apparently they improved the way the SD card works, and we're going to get into that in a moment. They made it easier to get in and out. They improved the audio, and they improved the Ethernet. They improved internet, wired internet, by giving us, hopefully, a better, faster port. If it's not better and faster, then maybe it's not really that big of an improvement, but I'm presuming since it's a local Ethernet port, it's got to be at least a gig. That's like pennies to add a gig Ethernet port. So presuming that's what they did. And they're charging more for the dock, so it would suggest to me that they gave us a real, true 1 gigabyte Ethernet port. So the thing is, all this stuff is minor quality of life improvements. What does that sound like? It sounds like a Game Boy Advance SP. That sounds like an XL 3DS. That sounds like an DS XL. So we got the Switch Lite, and now we got basically the Switch XL, but they didn't want to call it XL. And you might be like, if they called it Switch XL, would there be as much backlash? Probably not, because Switch XL tells you the expectation. You say Switch OLED, it doesn't really tell you anything other than it has an OLED screen. But that's what they wanted to focus on, because the OLED screen is a more significant upgrade than just saying it's a bigger screen. XL is just, oh, bigger screen. Same system, bigger screen. But this isn't just a bigger screen, it's a better screen. And they want to let you know that by putting OLED on the box. OLED in the marketing now. They actually just call this a Nintendo Switch, by the way. If you guys see the box for Switch OLED, it's just called Nintendo Switch. And then way down in the bottom in parentheses, little parentheses, OLED. Nintendo Switch, way down here, OLED. It's not actually part of the branding of this. And why isn't it part of the branding? Because like the DS XL before it, like the Game Boy SP, although SP was part of the branding, obviously XL was part of the branding as well. This system's going to replace the base model of the Switch. They're going to get rid of the version 2 Switch that many of us, I own today, the version 1 Switch as well, that's already gone. They're going to get rid of that base model Switch in like a year. This is your new base model Switch. That's what this is. No, it's not a Pro. No, I mean, I know, when I made that initial video, that's what made people upset is when I said formerly called Pro, pissed a bunch of people off, right? It's not a Switch Pro. It's a Switch XL. And it's going to replace the base model of Switch. That's what this is. It's a replacement for that base model of Switch. And you might be like, well, what's the point of all these upgrades on the base model of Switch? Because Switch is a handheld. We need to stop denying it. Switch is a handheld system that Nintendo gives us a way to dock with our TV. Not unlike when you used to have the Super Game Boy that attached to your, the Super Nintendo, right? They had the Super Game Boy thing you put in, and then you can play Game Boy games on your TV through a Super Nintendo, or the attachment that went to the bottom of the GameCube. We've had Nintendo offer this in the past where you could play these games on TV if you bought an accessory for your home console. The difference is you don't need to buy a whole extra system to play it on your TV. They'll just give you the little thing you need to make your device work on your TV. This, for all intents and purposes, is Nintendo saying, screw you, Sony, screw you, Microsoft, screw you, PC Gaming. We're not competing with any of you. Oh, we're all competing for people's time. But in terms of how we approach the video game marketplace, we don't care about you. We're not trying to blow people away with the best visuals ever on your TV. We're not trying to make people throw this on their 4K OLED TVs and be like, oh my God, look how amazing this game looks. No, they want you to hold the thing in your hand, look at it and be like, damn, you know what? This actually looks pretty good in your hand. Someone today on Twitter made an argument to me that the reason that we need an upgraded SoC is because it's so dang blurry on their giant 65-inch 4K TV, and they own a PlayStation 5, and the PlayStation 5 looks so good. It makes Switch, they only play in dock mode, look so bad. And I looked at him and I said, have you ever played Switch in handheld mode? And he said, no, not one time. And I said, instead of comparing your Switch in dock mode to your experience of PlayStation 5, do me a favor. Grab your favorite Switch game, the Switch game you think looks the best. I don't care if it's Witcher 3, I don't care if it's Doom, I don't care if it's Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, whatever game you think, you go, Smash Bros. Even, you think that's the best looking game on Switch, even though you still don't think it looks that great compared to PlayStation 5. Undock it and play it in handheld for a moment. And tell me now what you think about how it looks. And they did that. You know what they responded to me? I still want it to look better on TV, but And it wasn't because the game they were playing was running at a native 720p. It's because the screen is so small. It doesn't really matter that it's running at native 720p or not. It just looks better than the game looked on their 4K TV. because it's a smaller screen real estate. The pixels are more condensed. It might be running at 540p. It might be running at 420, but on a 720p screen that's that small, it's not as noticeable as it is running at 720p on a 4K screen at 65 inches. And it started clicking with him. Wait a second, is Switch a handheld? And I said, yes! Every system comes with a screen. Every system is a tablet or a tablet that has the controllers attached. Every Switch comes with a screen. Guys, it's a handheld. It's not a home console. It's not meant to look good next to your PlayStation 5. It's meant to do something your PlayStation 5 can't do. You can't conveniently play PlayStation 5 games on the go. You can play PlayStation 5 games on the go. Now, what I said conveniently. There are apps that allow you to stream games from your PlayStation 5 and from your Xbox Series X to a tablet or phone. Really only works when you're on your local network. Even then, it doesn't always work reliably, and it's still not even close to as good as playing it just locally on your TV. And if you're at home anyways, why wouldn't you just play it on your TV? Why wouldn't you just put your system in the room you're going to spend most of your time in, whether it's your bedroom or living room, and just play it there? And that's what I say. I've experienced both systems on my phone and on my tablet. It was just okay. I had lag issues. Sometimes the video feed would cut out, and that's on Wi-Fi 6 using devices that support Wi-Fi 6. And my router being like 10 feet away. And it still wasn't the greatest experience. But when I lift my Switch off the dock and I go play Mario Golf in my bed, the experience really doesn't change. Reality is, Switch is a handheld. And we should stop comparing it to home console contemporaries. So then you go, well, then we need to compare it to handheld contemporaries. Well, what handheld contemporary is there? GPD Win? Okay, fine, yeah, it doesn't look good compared to that. $1,500 system? It shouldn't look good compared to that. Okay, so then what other, well, your phone? Well, okay, it actually looks pretty decent in comparison to a phone, and it has button controls. Okay, so then, what can you compare? Oh, the 3DS? I mean, spanks the 3DS. Like, it's not even comparable. The 3DS doesn't even, you might be like, oh my god, it's got a 720p screen, but I'm only getting 540p games in handheld, or 420p. That's okay. That's double the resolution of the actual screen on 3DS. The screen on 3DS is 240p. 240. So even when the games run at 480 on that 720p screen, that's twice the resolution of 3DS. And that's not including the fact that, hey, you're probably getting better frame rates than you were on 3DS for a game that's that visually impressive. And hey, by the way, you're running basically home console style games on this that you weren't running on your 3DS because the 3DS couldn't handle it. Now look, I play a lot in dock mode. I get it, right? And there's a lot of people. I've done a lot of polls on this over the years. A lot of people play dock mode. A lot of people play only dock mode. They've never even seen the Switch in handheld. They literally open the box, throw it in the dock, put it under, buy a Pro controller, and leave it alone. They never touch it after that. It just stays there. The only thing they'll ever do is open the game cartridge thing to put it in, or they lifted it up once to put a big 512 gig micro SD card in or something, right? That's like all they've done. Otherwise, they've never hit power holding it in their hand and played a game. They might have hit power holding it in their hand one time when they were doing setup, but they haven't actually played a game on it in handheld. There's a lot of people that have literally never experienced it in handheld. So to them, it's a home console. That's all it is. Nintendo told them it's a home console. But it's using mobile chip technology, and every system comes with a screen. It's really not a home console. It's really a handheld with a dock. They even call it a dock. The Switch dock. Since when does a home console have a dock? When you dock a laptop, you're connecting it to an external device that then puts it up on screens and a whole bunch of, like, you can buy docks for laptops that there are certain laptops even designed for it, where you set it on a dock, and all that dock does is have all your screens, your mouse, any other of peripherals or whatever that you might have for a desktop is connected to that dock, and then you put your laptop on it. That doesn't make your laptop a desktop, by the way. You still wouldn't call your laptop a desktop computer because you docked it. Docking something doesn't make it the same as a home console or the same as a desktop PC. It's just an optional way to enjoy it while still having the convenience of folding this up and walking out the room with it and putting it in your backpack and taking it to the hotel, taking it on a plane, etc. That you can't do with a desktop PC. Same thing for Switch. It can do some of what home consoles do, but that's not what it's going to excel at because that's not what it is. It's just going to do it well enough for some people. So when you consider that, and then you step back and you look at the Switch OLED, what is the Switch OLED? It's just quality of life improvements that apply to what the Switch is, a handheld. If you just play it in dock mode, don't buy it. Is it worth it for $350? I don't know. I don't have it in my hand. I can't tell you. I factually can't tell you, is it worth spending $350 on? People are going to be like, oh, it's $50 more for a PlayStation 5. Oh, for $300, I can already buy an Xbox Series S. Okay. And that's great. And none of those systems you buy, can you pick it up and play it while you're on a walk with your kids. None of those, not that you should necessarily do, probably pay attention to your kids. But you can't take it to a beach. You can't take it to the bathroom with you. You can't take it to your bedroom. You can't walk and play. I mean, walk in place, I guess. But you see what I'm saying? Like, because those systems aren't the same as this. So, like, it's like comparing apples to oranges. They both are fruit. The PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and the Switch all play video games, but they don't give you the same experience because they're not the same thing. So comparing a Switch to a PlayStation 5 is kind of stupid. Now, that doesn't mean we shouldn't want upgraded stuff. DSi, new 3DS XL, new 3DS. Both of those not just had quality of life improvements, but had improved hardware. Game Boy Color factually didn't just have a screen that gave us color. It had a more powerful chip inside it. It was more powerful than a Game Boy, which is why there were Game Boy Color exclusive games, because the chipset inside it was more powerful and it needed that power to run the colors in the game. So the games maybe didn't look graphically better outside of colors, but it was still better and only possible with a more powerful chip. Whoops. So Nintendo has done this a number of times with their handhelds. And if Switch is a handheld, then aren't they just doing what they've been doing? And if Switch is a handheld, and they certainly are treating it like one, then the Switch OLED is an expected upgrade to the base model because this is what they've done in the past. Also, we should still expect a Switch Pro. We should still expect a more powerful Switch. Forget the rumors, right? Fuck rumors. We don't need them. We don't need Samus Hunter. We don't need Takahashi Machizuki, Tom Phillips, Jeff Grubb. We don't need any of those people telling us that a more powerful Switch is still going to come, even though they have all told us we're still getting a more powerful Switch, maybe in 2022 or 2023, right? Right? The move shifting the goalpost, right? We don't need them to tell us that. Just look at Nintendo's history in handhelds. That's what they do. The only time they really didn't was the Game Boy Advance. They just gave us the better screen. They didn't give us a more powerful system. But the original Game Boy, then the Game Boy Pocket, same system but smaller, and then a more powerful Game Boy Color. Game Boy Advance obviously just did the SP. They didn't have a more powerful system, but then they went back to doing more powerful systems with the DSi. And they did it again with the 3DS with the new 3DS. And now the Switch, we got our Lite version. Now we got our XL upgraded normal version. All that's left now is an upgraded Switch. Nintendo's history tells us they're going to do it. I don't need rumor people. I don't need anyone else. So if this Switch isn't for you because you want an upgraded home console experience, that's okay. You're just going to have to wait a little bit longer. Maybe a year, maybe 2 years. I don't know. Maybe it'll be a next gen. I have no idea. But history tells us they're going to do it. Now, is it going to be 4K? Is it going to be DLSS? That's what Takashi Machizuki and Tom Phillips threw out there, that there is a 4K DLSS chip out there. We know that factually, a couple facts we do know, setting aside rumors that we can't substantiate, NVIDIA is hiring people, or were hiring people, to make a new Tegra SoC, because that's what the hiring said, a new Tegra SoC for home consoles. Well, there isn't any other home console that uses Tegra SoCs. Actually, they didn't say home console, they said gaming consoles. But there's no other gaming consoles that use it but Switch, right? Then, we also know there was a reference to a new chip in a recent OS update on Switch. Not ALULA, that's what this is. Switch OLED's AULA, whatever. OLA, however you're supposed to say it, right? AULA, that obviously was Switch OLED. AULA was always using a Mariko chip. But factually, in the OS right now, someone discovered there's a reference to a chip that isn't in the Switch OLED either. Those are just facts. They're verifiable. You can look it up yourself. So you consider the facts, you consider Nintendo's history. We're going to get an upgraded Switch someday with a better SoC. It's just not going to happen now. Because it doesn't happen the same year they released the XL model, right? It comes a year later. It did for 3DS anyways. We had 3DS XL. Next year, we had the new 3DS. In the US, just the new 3DS XL at first. I think then we got the new 3DS later. Maybe they were the same day. I can't remember. Anyways. That's my thoughts on that. I think we should get into the previews, but I want to go to the chat right now and see what you guys are thinking. Brian C. Oh, baby. You know I love you. Yeah! Thank you, Brian C, for the $4.99. Says, yo, hope you're having a great day, bro. Just stopping by for a sec while taking a break from renovation stuff. Well, good luck on your renovations, man. Renovation projects are always like a BITCH. They're always a lot of work. But if it goes well, the final product's awesome. What sucks is when you do like a renovation project and then it doesn't turn out. And then it almost looks worse than it did before you renovated. I've seen that happen firsthand on my end. It sucks. But then you end up renovating all over again because you're going to keep renovating until it looks good. Especially when you do all the renovation yourself, if you're not a professional at what you're doing. Tend to be some mistakes that you're like, oh yeah, it looks good. And then you notice, oh wait, it's not quite level. It's not quite this, not quite that. Colors don't quite match the way you thought they were going to. A whole bunch of stuff. Yeah. But cheers, man. Thank you so much for the $5. So I'm just reading some of the comments after I went on my little thoughts on Switch OLED. Because again, I haven't had a chance to really talk about it after reflection. So I've been ruminating for a few days, and those are my thoughts on Switch and Switch OLED. Matt Coates says, the Switch is at a point in which it's so low powered, the gameplay experiences will drop and devs will be held back by the system and having to develop down for it for their games. Were we saying that about the 3DS? At any point during the 3DS's life were we like, oh man, the 3DS is so low powered that devs have to, drop their gameplay experiences for the 3DS? Has that ever been a criticism of any of Nintendo's handheld systems? So why is it a criticism of Switch? Why are we criticizing the Switch differently than we criticized Nintendo's prior handheld system? Why? Is there like an actual specific reason? Oh, because for a while we were getting some console ports? Okay. And? Just do what Capcom just did. Monster Hunter Stories 2, built for the ground up for Switch. Just released today. Looks gorgeous. Monster Hunter Rise, built from the ground up for Switch. Looks pretty damn good. And it runs pretty damn good too. So does Monster Hunter Stories 2 for that matter. What's the problem here? Why are we expecting this thing to do what the other home consoles do? It's not a home console. It's a handheld. Nintendo might still say home console because that was how they sold it originally, and they needed to because they were still selling 3DSs, and the Wii U flopped, and they wanted to get the Wii U and old console gamers back and all that jazz. And even if we look at it as a home console, and this is something I like to bring up, the last two home console generations for Nintendo, the Wii U and the Wii, both of them massively, significantly less powerful than their contemporaries. Wii, not even on the same level as the Xbox 360. So it didn't get Madden. It didn't get all those other third-party ports. What it got were games made exclusively for it, the No More Heroes of the world, right? We got games made exclusively for that hardware, and the games that third parties made exclusively for Switch were really freaking good. Wii U, same story. Sure, we got some initial ports right away, but then as soon as the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One came out, Wii U didn't really get those games anymore, did they? So what were the best games on Wii U? The games built for Wii U. Even Zombie U from Ubisoft was built from the ground up for Wii U, and is still to this day the best use of the gamepad to this day. Better than any Nintendo game. So what did we learn in those experiences? Nintendo doesn't give a shit about competing with them anyways. The last two home console generations had worse problems than the Switch. Worse. We have factually gotten more console ports to Switch than we got on those other two platforms, probably combined. And they were home consoles. Factual home consoles that sit under your TV and connect with an HDMI cable. Those were literal Nintendo home consoles, and they were so low spec in comparison to the competition, they weren't even bothering to get third-party ports from the current platforms at the time. We got Call of Duty on Wii. You're right. You got a Call of Duty built for the ground up for Wii. It was never the same thing as the other platforms. It was never the same game. We got Madden. Yeah, you got an arcade Madden game that was nothing like the simulation Madden. You got games built for the ground up for that system. So what's the path forward for Switch? Okay, well now we have PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X out, and as soon as they stop making versions for Xbox One and PlayStation 4, you know what they're going to do? They're going to stop bringing games to Switch. Instead, they're going to do what Capcom just did. They're going to make games for the Switch. As an example, if a new Starlink game ever comes out from Ubisoft, it's sold poorly on every platform but Switch. So it would be advantageous for them to just make it a Switch game. Sparks of Hope, obviously Mario crossover, just on Switch. Project Triangle Strategy, being built from the ground up for Switch. Now it's going to go to other platforms too, but it's being built specifically for that Switch audience that Octopath Traveler blew up on. If you bought Switch to play Doom, if you bought Switch to play Civilization 6, Diablo 3, that sucks. Because Switch wasn't going to continue to always get those games. And that should have been obvious from day one, but it being a handheld that has a screen built into it. It clearly wasn't going to keep getting home console games from other platforms. I mean, look at Switch's 2022 lineup right now. What makes it look so damn good? The exclusives. Legends Arceus, Breath of the Wild 2, Splatoon 3, Sparks of Hope. Currently, right now, all four of those games are listed for 2022. We're not talking about the new Doom, the new Wolfenstein coming to Switch next year. We're not talking about any of that. What we're talking about are the exclusives, because that's what carries the platform. If we're honest, that's what's really carried the platform the whole time. We've just conveniently had some third-party ports, mostly late. Credit to Mortal Kombat 11, that was day and date. But still. And now that you can already see what's happening, it's been happening over the last year. Third-party games that do come to Switch from other platforms are shifting how they're coming to Switch. The latest major third-party game announced for Switch is coming through game streaming. So it's almost like Nintendo did think about home console gamers with Switch OLED. Because they gave you what I assume to be a 1 gigabyte local Ethernet port. And what is that 1 gigabyte local Ethernet port going to let you do? Stream games on your Switch, on your TV at 1080p, 60 FPS, almost flawlessly. The missing ingredient was a faster internet connection, which you were limited before by USB 2.0. 1 gigabyte Ethernet port is plenty for 1080p, 60 FPS game streaming. So they actually helped out home console gamers too, but not in the way that you maybe wanted them to. Because they know third parties are shifting to game streaming on Switch. Now, if we could just get like xCloud and Game Pass, that'd be great. Right? It might make people actually enjoy streaming more if you could just have a subscription service instead of spending $60 a pop to stream a game. Because that's like the Google Stadia issue where you have to buy games that you don't really own. Yeah, it's kind of weird. They need like a streaming service, not a buy a game, but you don't own it. Yeah, that's always been that's the Google Stadia method. Japanese does will make games just for Switch like Monster Hunter, No More Heroes 3, Bravely Default 2, SMT5. Yeah, Shin Megami Tensei 5, another great one. Another great example of a game made exclusively for Switch. Looks pretty good from what we've seen. PS5 is cheaper. How? How is PS5 cheaper? PS5 on the lowest model, if you can get one, is $400. That's more expensive than any Switch. How is that cheaper? You can argue price to performance, and that's fine. But again, apples to oranges, not the same thing. You can't take your PS5 with you. But if you're on the go, the port, yeah. If you're on the go, Nick Forrest, obviously the game streaming doesn't really matter that much. But I think it's just it's one of those options, right? I mean, than PC. I'm not going to get into the PC versus PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X debate. I've been a PC gamer since the 90s. I get the debate on both sides. I understand both arguments. I own all of them in my PC games, so what's that tell you? There isn't really any one platform that gives me everything I want. I mean, I game on PC and on Xbox Series X. Like, why? Right? Why? Because the Xbox Series X still gives me a better experience on my TV than my PC does, even though my PC is more powerful than my Xbox Series X. Because Microsoft's offerings, including Game Pass, are catered to the Xbox more than the PC. So it ends up being a better experience on there than it is on my PC. So it's And then on PlayStation, obviously, exclusive games, even if they come to PC eventually, you have them for years ahead of time. Obviously, Switch has its own exclusives. So, like, none of the platforms really give me everything I want because all the games I want to play are spread out. All right, let's get into some of the previews, right? Because it's in the title. Let's go to IGN's preview here. And we're just going to read this preview. I have not read either one of these previews yet. So this will be my first time reading it. So let's see if I did this right. Yeah, I did. Well, except for the B-Day stream thing. Whoops. Whatever. We're going to say B-Day stream. It's not really a B-Day stream. That was Monday. Taker 610. Thank you for the $2. Says, wish M would do a home console again for the hybrid. Oh, you mean a home console is better than the hybrid? Or wait, home console is less than the hybrid? I think you mean that you wish Nintendo did a home console again, right? I think that's what you're trying to say. Instead of a hybrid. I don't. Tell you why. We don't need 3 powerful consoles on the market that all do the same thing. PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X are redundant except for exclusives. I'm just throwing that out there. They're the same system except for what exclusive games you get on them. We don't need a third system that's the same thing. We just don't. And the marketplace has continually proven 3 systems that are basically the same with the only differences being the exclusive games don't coexist. It doesn't work. Nintendo tried that. Remember GameCube, PS2, Xbox? It doesn't work. Dreamcast? Doesn't work. Only 2 systems competing for power can really exist at once. So if a third system is going to be there, it has to be different. And Nintendo figured that out back in the Wii days. Can't do the same thing as the other platforms. So they don't. So if we got a Nintendo home console, it's still not going to be what you want it to be. It's not going to be 4K. It's not going to be 60 FPS like that. It might be 60 FPS in general, but it ain't going to be 4K. They don't give a shit. They're not trying to be Sony. They're not trying to be Xbox. They're Nintendo. And in case people didn't know, because a lot of us growing up remember Nintendo as a home console company, right? Oh, the N64, the GameCube, the SNES, the NES. Go look at Nintendo's best-selling game consoles of all time. It's right on Nintendo's website. It's all handhelds. Game Boy. Game Boy Advance. Yes. The only home console that's even up there is the Wii. Every single best-selling platform from Nintendo, besides Wii, is a handheld. Think about that. Think about that when you're talking about what kind of company is Nintendo really? Nintendo has always been more of a handheld company than home console. And you just didn't want to admit it to yourself. Nintendo dominates handheld gaming to a point that it's honestly the leading arm of their whole company, and it's been the leading arm of their home company since the Game Boy days. I'm just throwing it out there. Like, even during the Wii era, 100 million. Yeah, but their handheld at the time was doing 150 million. Nintendo's leading arm of their entire video game division has always been handheld. We just didn't want to admit it. So at the end of the day, why would Nintendo go, let me make a home console. Let me go back to our least successful market. Or we're about to sell potentially 150 plus million Switches. Why the fuck wouldn't we keep doing that? Why would we go away from the thing we're best at? I'm just saying, from a business perspective, Nintendo's made the right choice. Your own personal wants and desires are your own personal wants and desires. Business-wise, Nintendo's just doing what they do best. All right, let's get into this IGN article. So Nintendo Switch OLED hands-on. We compare it to the original. All right. So this is by Tom Marks. I guess he's the one who got to play it. Said, while I was playing Nintendo's newly announced OLED Switch earlier this week, the grass quite literally looked greener. I got a chance to try Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Breath of the Wild on the new model, while comparing them directly to my original Switch. And the vivid screen it's named after is undoubtedly impressive improvement. Sorry, I thought I missed something in there. But while that display and a handful of other welcome tweaks like a surprisingly excellent new kickstand certainly made me envious, they also aren't so drastic as to feel like a vital mid-cycle upgrade you can't afford to miss. Unfortunately, Nintendo won't let us take any pictures or recordings of the OLED screen, which is unfortunate. But the most obvious difference is, of course, the screen itself. While the Nintendo Switch OLED model, as it's formerly called, is essentially the same size as the original, stacked together, it looked maybe a few millimeters longer at most. It is. It's 0.1 of a millimeter wider. Its slightly larger 7-inch display takes up more of that real estate instead of the black bezel around it. It's not a massive difference, but it's one that is clear as day next to the base Switch, now comparatively thick border. The strength of the new display, unsurprisingly, becomes even more obvious when turned on, immediately shining bright and clear from pretty much any viewing angle I tried. Honestly, it's not an exaggeration to liken its vibrance to when the Game Boy Advance SP got an updated model with a far brighter screen. Well, making the original Switch look, I know what he's talking about. There was an updated SP model that had a brighter backlit screen. Making the original Switch look noticeably dimmer if compared directly. Its colors are richer too, and I'm not kidding when I say Breath of the Wild's grassy fields looked almost cartoonishly green viewed side by side. The next most exciting feature of the OLED model, somewhat surprisingly, is actually its improved kickstand. It's no secret that the base model's offset kickstand is flimsy and unreliable, but I wasn't expecting this version to provide such a resounding response to the issues of its predecessor. Not only does it stretch all the way across the back of the Switch, its hinge offers a satisfying amount of resistance so that you can easily lean it at nearly any angle and be confident it will stay that way. It's incredibly sturdy with the same tactile matte finish as the back of the Switch Lite. If it weren't for the charging port still being blocked while standing up, I'd say the need for a third-party stand is now all but dead. The onboard speakers have also been improved somewhat, providing better sound quality when playing without headphones. I'm no audiophile, but the difference was certainly noticeable, if not exactly jaw-dropping. Mario Kart's music didn't sound as flat, and Zelda's echoing voice in Breath of the Wild had a bit more depth. Frankly, I rarely use my Switch without headphones, which the OLED model doesn't affect at all, but it's still a nice improvement for those likely to take advantage of it, or more likely to take advantage of it than me. The Switch dock has also been tweaked slightly, but many of the sharp edges that gave it a bad rap for scratching screens near launch now safely rounded over, which I don't think that's actually... The rails on the inside are what scratched it. It wasn't the corners. Anyways, I feel like that's just a misunderstanding of why Switches were scratching. The USB port on its back compartment, which now supports a fully removable cover, has also been swapped for a LAN port to enable a wired internet connection without the need of a third-party adapter, which I unfortunately didn't get to test out. These largely feel like Nintendo smoothing out rough spots with the original dock's design rather than the system selling changes, but they are welcome all the same. Getting all these improvements, including the expanded 64 gigabytes of storage, for only $50 more than the base model is a great value, one that seems like a no-brainer to me for folks looking to get their first Switch. Okay, so for $350, he's saying it to him, it feels like, okay, it's kind of worth it for $350 because the screen is just that much better and you get the extra 32 gigs of storage. So, like, that alone, those two kind of things plus the kickstand's kind of like, yeah, you know what, you're going to play it in handheld mode. Yeah, okay, $50 more might not be a big deal. But for those who are already happily playing on a base Switch with no need for another, this relatively small list of editions isn't quite as convincing, especially when seemingly basic stuff like built-in Bluetooth headphone support still hasn't been added. And if you are someone who primarily plays on TV, you basically just be paying for a marginally better dock and some more storage space, as the OLED and kickstand obviously offer no benefits to HDMI fed 1080p dock output. That's not to short sell how nice the new display is, just to say the difference between entering the Switch ecosystem and upgrading within it is a tangible one here. The screen may look better than what I have now, but it's not such a world-shattering improvement that my original Switch suddenly looks subpar. And it's not the long-rumored Switch Pro, so games themselves aren't going to run any better on the model. If there were a way to pay $50 and magically add these new features to my existing Switch, I would do it, though. But paying a few hundred to reach the slightly greener grass. And that's why... Okay, so that's why in my poll... if you remember, I did a poll yesterday on my channel, and I said, hey, if you could trade in your Switch, if there was like a $200 trade-in offer, would you pay an extra $150 for these features? And surprisingly, there was actually a lot of people that said, yeah, you know what, if I could trade in my Switch for a decent trade-in offer, they would consider it. More people would consider it than people considering just buying it outright as another Switch. All right, let's go to the other article here. The Verge. So The Verge went hand on here as well. Here's what they said. Sitting down in Nintendo's offices in Redmond City, California. I don't know why Redwood City. So I always go to Redmond because that's where Nintendo's headquarters are, but this was Redwood City in California, not Washington. I already knew of all the main details on the new Switch OLED model. It has a larger 7-inch OLED display and improved kickstand, increased internal storage. So I want to give the reason I'm reading this article, even though it's going to have the same details, is it's perspectives from somebody else. It's good to have multiple perspectives, not just read IGN's and just take what he said. Let's see what somebody else thinks about it. I knew all that going in, but after playing a half hour's worth of Mario Kart and Breath of the Wild, I believe the word just in the previous sentence is unfair. The Switch OLED model has a bigger, nicer screen, and that's more than enough to justify its existence, and perhaps its $350 price. The screen looks brighter and more vibrant to me than the original Switch. The increased contrast is definitely noticeable on Rainbow Road, where the neon lights popped out of the screen more brightly compared to the darker background. I've also been using a Switch Lite for the past year or so, and its screen looks positively dim and muddy by comparison. One concern I had was that increasing the screen size while staying at the same 720p resolution would make pixels stick out and some things would look jagged. This is a concern that some people have brought up. Pixels were more visible when I stopped the action and specifically tried looking for them. I could see some subpar anti-aliasing on the text on the home screen and on the blades of grass surrounding Link on the Great Plateau. But once I actually was playing, all I saw is that the screen was bigger and everything looked brighter. So it's one of those in motion, you don't notice it. Standing still, looking for it, you'll see it. Pretty typical. To get really nerdy, I don't have a definitive answer to whether or not the OLED screen uses a pentile or RGB layout at the sub-pixel level, but it looks like RGB to me. At 7 inches diagonal, my sense is that pentile would be obviously even to people who aren't normally annoyed by it like me. Photos weren't allowed at the briefing, so I can't show you a close-up image of the screen. But getting nerdy about the new Switch OLED model is overthinking it. The point of this midlife update isn't to radically change or upgrade the Switch, it's to make a version that feels a little more premium and is a little bit more enjoyable in handheld mode. I also have nothing but praise for the new kickstand, which is finally good. The original Switch's kickstand was so bad I never tried to use it. It's pretty bad. This one goes across the entire length of the device and can be adjusted to any angle down to nearly flat. It's stable too, offering just enough resistance. Hold the console up, but not enough to make changing its position a pain. I could just lightly press on the top of the Switch on tabletop mode to adjust the angle and get rid of the glare from an overhead light. The last noticeable change is the speakers, which are a bit louder and have a little bit more clarity than the Switch Lite I've been using. I still prefer headphones. I know there's no surprise. There's no support for Bluetooth. But these speakers are probably good enough to keep me from reaching for them every time I turn on the Switch like I do now. There are a lot of other less important design tweaks. The fan vents on the bottom point downward instead of backward to accommodate the new kickstand. So that's a change. The bezel around the larger screen is a glossy black instead of the matte, and the position of the micro SD card slot is a little different. The dock has an Ethernet port on it. Didn't get a chance to use it though. The output hasn't changed from the current 1080p. The processor's the same, so it's going to be the same experience. Overall, I think Nintendo has very slightly improved the overall fit and finish of the hardware. Still feels a little toy-like, but it's a nicer toy with a nicer finish. Whether that will extend the two Joy-Con controllers that are less likely to suffer from drift remains to be seen. But I don't think Nintendo has done anything notably different. They're completely compatible with existing controllers too. Yeah, that's kind of the big thing. Is Nintendo kind of confirmed in a way that they're the same Joy-Cons? So likely Joy-Con drift is there. I mean, we won't know for sure until like we get those Joy-Cons and we tear them down. But it's highly likely they're the exact same joysticks that are in the current ones. So yeah, that's something that I wish they would have addressed with it. If they would have addressed it with this, and you could only get these new Joy-Cons by buying this, that alone might have been worth the $350, especially with how much we spend on Joy-Cons. But anyways, so that's another person's take on all of that. And hey, we had a super chat a moment ago. Thank you, K-Bob Briere, for the 10. God, I always get it wrong. Euros? Pounds? Pounds, right? That's pounds. I think it's 10 pounds. Thank you so much for the 10 pounds, man. I appreciate it. It's not actually my birthday, guy. My birthday was on Monday. That was just a non-updated. I forgot to update this. See, it says B-Day stream. I forgot to update that. It's just Nintendo Prime Live. That was from Monday. So Monday, we had a birthday stream. It's not actually Euros. Okay, yeah. So it's not actually my birthday. Sorry. I hope that didn't confuse me, people. It's not my birthday. Monday, though, it is my birthday week. You don't have that wrong. It's my birthday week. But Monday was my birthday. Cheers. All right. All right. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Have these previews changed anything for you? My thoughts after reading the previews are, it's what I thought it was. The screen looks great. The sound is better. Kickstand's wonderful. I know a lot of people are probably thinking, this feels like what the Switch should have been in 2017. I agree. But I also don't think this would have been $350 in 2017. I think due to pricing, this would have been a $400 Switch. And I don't think the Switch takes off at $400. So I think they made the right choice waiting for these design overhauls and just giving it the 3DS XL treatment. I think they made the right choice doing that. Now, a lot of people will be like, well, no, because we should have the upgraded, better SoC. And we still might get that. You have to remember, Switch might have a 10-year life. We might only be halfway through Switch's life, guys. We might have another 5 years. This thing might be going all the way to 2026. Think about that. This might be going all the way to 2026. It would make more sense to wait for the upgraded Switch release time, wouldn't it? Because if they release it now, people are going to be bitching by 2023. Oh my god, we need a new system. Or just be happy whenever we do get an upgraded version. If it happens. I'm not getting it. You're fine with mine? That's cool, AZ. Nothing wrong with that. And there was a Nintendo employee that tweeted out this week. Because some people were being like, I'm really disappointed that this isn't a new model. And the guy said, that's not the point of this model. Don't buy it then. And a literal Nintendo employee came out on Twitter and told a fan who responded to Nintendo's thing about it, saying, hey, look, it's not like Nintendo knows, they get it. They know that they hear all the fans saying they want an upgraded SoC. They hear that, but they said that's not the point of this Switch. And I think I get what the long-term point of it is, and it's more so speculative at this point. They're replacing the base model with this. And when they release the upgraded Switch, right? When they release the new SoC Switch, if it exists, if they release it next year, 2023, whatever, it's going to look a lot like this. The idea is when it comes out that people who own this don't feel like, oh my god, it's a next-gen Switch. No, same OLED panel, same better speakers, same Ethernet port, better SoC. Better dock, better 4K output. But they want people who buy this. When they replace the base model with this and all future Switch purchases, they want them to feel like, hey, I don't feel left behind. Because I think if they had done this, and this also included a new SoC, if they had done the Switch OLED model and they put in a new SoC that's like twice as powerful as the current Switch, I think a lot of people would mistakenly think that this is a next-gen Switch, and they would feel left behind. Look at all these quality of life improvements. Look at that screen. It's more powerful. God, my current Switch, I just feel left behind. But you won't feel as left behind when you have a lot of the same quality of life features, just not the extra power. Just like new Nintendo 3DS has the same screen as the 3DS. Right? So I think there was a point to this, if you look at Nintendo's history of platforms. Q&A time! Yeah, DS was 10 years, so was 3DS. So again, like, probably a 10-year platform. All right, Q&A time. What questions do you guys have? What do you want to talk about? Let me know. We have 140 people watching, 104 likes. Can we get those likes up to 120? Let's do it. 120 likes, let's go. To ask me a question in the chat, you just gotta @ me in the chat, @ Nintendo Prime in the chat. Ask me a question. Q&A time, baby. Q&A time. What brand of knockoff Joy-Cons do you? I get asked this all the time. Hold on. I'll go grab a link. 1 second. I did a video on them. I'm gonna go to my video and grab the link. I did it less than a year, 8 months ago. It was a very weird video for me, and I wasn't. Oh God, I even look at the editing on this, and I'm like, man, I do a way better job at editing today than I would back then. On this kind of video, I could have showed them up close being used, and just, whatever. People seem to like it. Here you go. Here's a link to them. There's actually the ones I use on my Switch right now are these ones. I linked them in the chat. Yes, it's an Amazon affiliate link. If you don't want to use it, it's fine. Just go to Amazon.com and copy paste in the name. Watch. If you want my video on it, here's my video on it showing them being used and my thoughts on them. Still using them to this day. Let's see here. So you think a pro model will be no. I think when they release. So here's what I think is going to happen. I think in like a year, they're going to stop making the current base model Switch. They're only going to make this OLED model as the new base model. And if they don't drop the price next holiday, they're going to drop it shortly after holiday, right? So I think they're going to bring this OLED model price down to $299 eventually here in the next year to year and a half. So maybe they'll go 2 holidays at $350, but they're going to drop it. And they're going to drop it right before they're about to announce the new Switch, the more powerful Switch. The more powerful Switch, I think, is going to come in at $399. And then you're going to see that 3-tier thing at the $399, $299, and $199. That's just my opinion anyways. I don't know for sure. That's what I think might happen. Well, again, we're talking about a system that's not out yet. We're talking about discontinuing of a system Nintendo hasn't said they're going to discontinue. This is just going off Nintendo's history of what they've done. More so than what we know will happen. It's more so, well, this is what I think will happen based on what Nintendo's done in the past. Favorite non-Nintendo game? Secret of Mana. It's my second favorite game of all time. That's Square Enix. Falsetto Home says, I think there's no Switch Pro model, just a next-gen Switch. So I got a question. What does a next-gen Switch mean? Does it mean like it's a new generation system? Sure, maybe it's backwards compatible, but like PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series XR, but like it's gonna have all these exclusive games. Is that what you mean? Because if that's the case, I don't think that's what's gonna happen. Because they're gonna keep riding the Switch bandwagon. I mean, the thing's selling 20+ million a year. They're not gonna stop to release a new generation platform. They will release an upgraded platform. Just my opinion, of course. This is just based on Nintendo's history of what they've done, by the way. DS and 3DS were 10-year platforms. We're only halfway through Switch. We're in the midst of year 5 right now for Switch. Year 5 officially ends March 3rd next year, and then we're in the midst of year 6. So like, because we're at like 4.5, whatever right now, or just under 4.5 years in the Switch. So it's like, if we're entering the midway point of Switch, there's still 5 more years to go. Well, we're not. I mean, there's got to be another model of Switch. I mean, Nintendo did 6 different models, 6 of 3DS. I really think there's not going to be another model. I don't know. I mean, it could be a Lite with an OLED panel. That's obviously a potential new model. They could eventually upgrade the Lite. We can't ignore that. So there could be like a Lite OLED or something, right? Like that literally could be a new model that comes at some point. I mean, it might even be likely at some point. But then again, they're trying to keep the Lite cheap. And I think they have a goal to eventually get the Lite down to 2DS pricing, which was like $99. So maybe we never will get a Lite OLED because they want to hit $99 with that, and you're not getting an OLED screen or a $99 device. So that's something to consider as well. That maybe that never happens because they want to keep that as like a super budget model. So Houdini Font Mista. One thing about 3DS is when Switch came out, it was advertised as the replacement for Wii U. They kept releasing new games on 3DS for years. I think people look at when the system was discontinued as like the end, right? I think that's how people are looking at it as when it was discontinued. Now, obviously, I argue Switch is the replacement for 3DS, but I don't know that Switch was the replacement for 3DS in 2017. Like, yeah, Switch is so weird because it's a hybrid, but it's really a handheld with a dock. So is it really a hybrid? But then, like, nothing else was really doing that at the time. So then it feels like a hybrid. So it's just, I don't know. I don't think Nintendo cares. At this point, it's the only system. There is no 3DS. They don't make them anymore. There is no Wii U. They stopped making those in 2016. They just make Switch. Switch is it. That's their gaming platform. There is nothing else. Call it a handheld, call it a home console. Doesn't matter. They just have Switch. So take that for what you will. Call it what you want. Say it replaced this. Say it replaced. It doesn't matter. Facts are the only Nintendo system in production today is a Switch. And the various versions of that Switch. Favorite Wii game? Bias. It's either Galaxy 2 or Skyward Sword. I'm kind of torn between them. Got an itch on my back. The Elemento Hero, the Shadowlink, Dragon Wolf King says, will the Switch OLED have a Bluetooth compatible for headphones? No. They said that in the previews. Doesn't work. Doesn't mean it won't work eventually. Doesn't work right now. From the previews, it does not have Bluetooth headphone support. Will this new model work with the Pro Controller? Yes. And lastly, do you think the new HD will be good on larger TVs? What? There is no new HD. Huh? It's the same output as the current dock. You're not going to see... The OLED version doesn't have any differences for dock TV play besides the Ethernet port. So you'll get faster internet potentially. So better for game streaming. Better for online gameplay. But it's going to look the same. You're not going to see a visual improvement on your TV over current Switch. So no. But yeah, all Pro Controller, all Joy-Cons, everything, even the old dock. You can literally put your OLED in the old dock. It doesn't matter. So everything's cross-compatible. Everything works together. That's why I think this is literally just a base model replacement. Eventually. Oh, there's not going to be OLED exclusives. Someone said there might be OLED exclusives. How could there be OLED exclusives? There's not a power difference. It's the same chip. That wouldn't make any sense. OLED's just a display. It's like, oh no, you have an OLED TV or an LCD TV. Oh no, exclusive games for OLED. That doesn't make any sense. OLED TV is just a display. It's just a screen. It has nothing to do with how a game runs. Here. I'm Focused says, it seems Nintendo may approach Switch like mobile devices like iPhones. They have regular refreshes every few years, but they keep the core platform. Yeah, that is something. If you guys remember, way back when Switch came out, before the light was, I talked about this in 2017, that I felt like the best move for Nintendo for Switch, if it blows up, is to never really end the Switch. Iterative. Foam model. Not as often. Foam models, have like iPhone does like, here's iPhone and here's the next iPhone, or here's iPhone, here's the S version, then the next gen. Like, that's like every year. So I didn't think that was smart, but like every 3-4 years? Why abandon the core platform? Just keep adding new systems to the core platform. Eventually, yeah, you gotta ditch the old. You get like 2-3 new core platforms in, you ditch the old. But still, like at that point, there'd be like a 10-year gap from the old to the new latest. So yeah, I don't know. That's what I thought they should do. Screw the generation route. Just iterate, and then slowly phase out old hardware. Let's see here. Who said that? I have no idea. I saw someone in the chat be like, is there going to be Switch OLED exclusive games? Like, why would there be? There's no reason for there to be. Sorry, I left without saying bye. I just took your meds, melatonin. So Nick Forrest, I'm not going to call melatonin meds. I know what it is. It's so common misconception of melatonin is that it puts you to sleep. Melatonin doesn't make you sleepy. What it does, what melatonin does is it focuses your body on, like if you're someone who has like ADHD, if you're someone who's hyperactive, has a hard time falling asleep because their mind's going a million miles a minute, right? Gets fidgety at night. What melatonin does is it doesn't put you to sleep. It doesn't make you tired. You're already tired. What it does is it slows down your thought process to put your mind in a state of being ready to go to sleep. It doesn't make you sleepy. You could have 100 milligrams of melatonin. You can't overdose on it. Your body already produces melatonin naturally. Some people just need more melatonin than others to get their mind in a state that it's ready to sleep. So you could literally take melatonin and stay up and party all night. That's a lot harder. You got to push yourself more. You're going to feel overtired, but you can still do it. Melatonin doesn't factually put you to sleep. It just gets your mind in a state that's ready to sleep. There's a lot of science behind it, but yeah, our bodies actually produce melatonin. But yeah, melatonin is one of those things. You can take as much as you want. You can't OD on it. Not saying you should, because eventually, if you take too much too often, you can throw off your body's ability to make melatonin, or you can make your body make too much melatonin. But technically, you can't OD on it. All right. I don't know why. Good night, man. Take seizure meds with it too, and meds for UTI. So you got antibiotics for UTI. And seizure meds are one thing. Yeah, I can sympathize with seizures. I don't have them anymore, but when I was a kid, I had really bad seizures, like the kind that fuck with your head and make you forget shit. I had them up until I was like 8. It was bad. I grew out of them eventually, but I am a high risk. I'm considered high risk for future seizures through any sort of head trauma. It doesn't have to be major. Like I've had a TBI and I've had concussions, but like literally, I could just bump into a wall, and it could trigger a seizure. And the problem is the kind of seizures I was getting. I'm not on seizure meds. I don't need to be, but there's a high chance that if some sort of head trauma gives me a seizure, or if a fever, like I get a really high fever from, whatever, and I can't control it, and I get a seizure from that. Whenever I do have a seizure because of my seizure history, there's a chance it's going to be very severe, and without proper medical treatment, could be dead within like 3 minutes. But again, I've never had it happen since I was a kid again. I only vaguely remember them because literally I forgot everything every time it happened. Forgot my name, forgot how to tie shoes, forgot how to talk, how to walk, to relearn that stuff every single time. It was a pain in the ass. And we got Hey Barbier with the 100 rubles? Rubies? Rub-a-dub-dub, scrub in the tub. Isn't that like $1 or is that $5? I don't even know. What sticker is that? Hold on. What kind of sticker is that? That'll tell me. Super sticker. That is a. Hold on. Go to the video game ones. This? I can't even find that sticker. I know it's in here somewhere. I've seen it before. Oh, whatever. Thank you so much. However much that is. $1? Is it $1? I don't even know. $2? Rub. Look at all that head. A lot of head. That's what she said. Time to drink some. Nope. So there's a kind of a joke because during my birthday stream, I noticed something about this tequila. So I don't like tequila, right? But I noticed something about this for the first time ever during my birthday stream. It's got a cock on it. You see this? It's a cock. I've been drinking cock tequila. Wait, no, that doesn't come out yet. We're only at $42 in super chat revenue. We have to cross $100 or have $100 super chat. Rubles or rubies or whatever it is not dollars. Super chat. So we're not anywhere near busting out the cock juice. That was a $5 sticker. Thank you so much for letting me know. Thanks. So thanks for the $5. See, I think Nintendo is in a place where it kind of have third party make their games for Switch first. Kind of hurts PS5 and Xbox Series systems a little. I don't know. I think what's gonna happen is they're just gonna make Switch exclusive games. I don't know that anyone's really gonna be hurt by this at all. I don't think anyone's hurt. I find taking melatonin and listening to a podcast on a 15-minute timer the best way to fall asleep. The audio stops me from having my own thoughts and I can fade out. Yeah, that's the thing. The melatonin, again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing to take to go to sleep. It's fine. My kids have it once in a while. They have a kid version of it. It's like 1 milligram or something. But like, all I really use to do is to settle them down. Like if especially my youngest child, he tends to get really he gets overtired and does like this hyperactive stuff, and he has a hard time calming himself down to actually fall asleep. So it's not about putting him to sleep. It's about, all right, let's stop the hyperactivity and let's get your mind in a, all right, I guess I'm ready to lay down. And then once he lays down, he's out. And the same happens without it too. But every now and then, it's like, okay, you're a little hyperactive. Let's calm that down a bit. Let's see here. Be careful with that. My fiance died in April due to seizures and sickle cell. Yeah, I don't have sickle cell. My fiance is calling me, so 1 second. I will be right back. So I do the be right back screen and 40 people drop out. What the fuck? Should I have just like left myself muted and just talked on the phone? Well, anyways, yeah, I was just on the phone with my fiance. That's all. She was calling. She's at work. My jam. Let's get it. My music levels are a little off. How are they off? I don't know how my music levels are off. Can you explain? There's a fade in. There's a fade out. We really wanted to see the chair. Yeah. So do I get on the phone and then just go under the desk and let you guys have your chair stream? Do not watch Baki no Pico. I am very curious. Baki no Pico. Time to check that out. Baki no Pico. Oh. Some hentai. I see. Oh, you can watch it for free. I see. Well, now, I'm not looking at any images of it yet, but, alrighty then. What are you gonna do? Is it really bad? Is it really bad? Hey, you know who I see in the chat? Oh, Julia.
So far.
Yeah. Baby, you know I love you. Oh, that's funny. What's going on with my phone, really, man? It depicts young looking stuff, so that's what it is. So it's got like underage depictions. I mean, isn't that like all hentai? Doesn't like all hentai look like a 2-year-old did it? You're totally rolling your eyes over there. Of course, Nintendo Prime. Of course, you're busy watching your little child porn hentai shit. I'm gonna be honest. I've always viewed hentai as like pseudo child pornography. Like it's not all hentai is, but like, do they look? Anime chicks look so young. Even like, oh my god, no, she's a 25-year-old anime chick. She looks 12. Anime chicks, even the ones that look, even like the anime grandmas look like they're like 22. I'm sorry that like, I don't like. To me, all hentai is basically child porn. To me, anyways. So I just don't watch it. That's not why. I'm just not really into it. I don't find them attractive. Oh my god! Look at my hentai chicks with the super unrealistic proportions. Oh my god! Like, hentai's so unrealistic. What? Yulia says, I won't care if he doesn't behave. It's his stream and his choice. What? Wait, hold up. You have some controversy in the chat? It's pretty bad, Nate. Hey, Yulia, I hope you're having a great night. Nate's behaving. Oh, that's what it was. Nate's behaving. Hey, Yulia doesn't care. My fiance, one, she trusts me not to do anything stupid. Like really, really stupid. Two, honey, who wants to behave? Behaving ain't fun. I'm sorry, hold on 1 second. Ugh. I gotta get my midstream workout in. Yes. Oh, hold on. Yes. All right. Midstream workout complete. You're a degenerate. I mean, I didn't watch anything. I just looked up and I said, "Oh, it's a hentai." Okay. Like a basic Google search on your phone doesn't really show you any images unless you click on images. I don't watch hentai. I don't even watch anime, guys. Like I'm not into that stuff really. I used to watch anime stuff like like Fooly Cooley back in the day, One Piece, but Late Night Pump. Stop, bro. Stop what? I'm just working out. You got a problem with my workouts? Huh? A little Ring Fit, huh? What's wrong with a little Ring Fit? This is a family channel. This is a Nintendo channel. Who cares how much I pump my iron? I mean, in Ring Fit Adventure, you do this thing where you bend over. I mean, you want me to bend over for you guys? I'm just saying, like, I'm just doing what Nintendo says. Ring Fit. The gun show. Welcome to the gun show. Oh yeah. See, honey, look, I got some muscles going here. You see those? There's some muscles popping. Oh yeah. Nothing works for him except you. Oh, Yulia. Ring Fit where it doesn't fit exactly. Oh boy. What's up, Gianfranco Larota? I've been there. All my kids do is ask for money. All right. Tell me my kids were at the fair today. Dad, I want to play a game. Dad, give me a 20 to play some games. No. No. Off subject question, Nintendo Prime versus anti-Nintendo. What? No, there's Nate and Nintendo Prime. Who would win? I mean, Nintendo Prime owns an island and a yacht. He wouldn't even fight me directly. He'd just hire an assassin. So he'd win. Just trying to find my favorite grip for my Switch. Wait a second. Your favorite grip? See, I prefer a firm grasp. You know, and then you got to take the Joy-Con off, then put it back on. Take it off, put it back on. You know, like this. Let's see here. Real question. One of my favorite movies, Dumb and Dumber. I like the last song, but this is a banger. What song? That's so naughty. Well, you know me, babe. I can be pretty naughty. Pretty naughty at times. Haven't alerted the police yet, though. The police aren't on their way. Wait a second. What was the name of that anime again? What was it called? What was the anime? Or sorry, hentai. What was it called again? Hold on. I gotta search for it again. Something Pico. Boku no. Okay. Boku no. Hold on. Boku. And my question is, why do you guys know about it? Search. It's an original. Japanese original hentai. The world's first Shotokan anime. Look at me! They're gone. God, I thought they were coming for me. That was a close one. That was a close one. I better not look that up again. I have no idea where my phone went. Yes, I threw my phone. Literally no idea where it's at. In case you guys didn't know, I used to do some acting. People are like, your acting skills are sick. I don't know if they're really that great, but I used to do musicals and plays and all that way back in the day. So I know I have a little bit of talent with acting. I'm not going to say I'm great, though. Obviously, if I was great, I would be doing it still. If you give me your number, I'll call it. No! I'm just going to Mario punch you in the face. All right. Any more questions you guys got? Oh, Flippin said podcast when? So we were supposed to have the podcast on Wednesday, which would have been perfect as a Switch OLED, right? Our guest canceled. And then I wasn't feeling the greatest. I was going to suck it up for the sake of having the guest on, but I decided, get a little extra sleep instead. So I did that. So yeah, hopefully next week. I keep saying hopefully. I'm at a point now where I'm wondering, because if I start up the podcast next week again, on the 14th, and then again on the 21st, on the 28th I'm on a cruise. Now, in theory, I could still do the podcast with Yulia, but still, I'm just not so sure about that. I'll think about it. Maybe next week. Otherwise, August. But I'm thinking I'll probably still get it going next week, anyways. I had a little break after E3. He tells him about 5 minutes. FBI, open up. Careful, you may get a virus. What? What are we talking about? What virus? Where? Tender Prime doesn't have any fighting skills against you. It doesn't matter. He wouldn't fight himself. Rip phone, and also careful because you might get a virus. What are you talking about? What virus? Why are we talking about viruses? Oh, you mean from watching? I didn't watch the show. I just Google searched it. Okay, if Google gives me a virus, that's on them. Do Nintendo has cloud games? Will they ever get like a Stadia or an xCloud? I have no idea. Or like their own version? I have no clue. Imagine if someone swatted. It's gonna happen someday. Someone's gonna swat my house, and you know what's gonna suck when it happens? My kids are here. You know, like my biggest fear if someone ever swats me is that my kids get hurt. I know where my phone is. It's over there. I can see it on the floor. But no, that's my biggest fear if I ever get swatted is my children. It's like they're not going to know how to react, and swatting, they're pretty aggressive. Swatters are aggressive because it's always like a hostage situation or whatever. So like yeah, it would suck if I ever got swatted. Knock on wood, hasn't happened. Hopefully, it never does. And I would say it doesn't happen to a majority of streamers. But you never know. Someday. Yes, Chris. I know I'm behind. I get the audio versions of podcast stuff. I know, but yes, I know I'm behind by like 2 or 3 podcasts. I'm aware. I just have to sit down and get them uploaded or get them edited and uploaded. If they do, I know an awesome way. Yeah, well. How do people even get swatted? So what happens is someone discovers your home address, right? So you have a hater who discovers your home address, which is fine. Like if they prank and send you pizzas or whatever, dumb shit. Like that sucks, but it's whatever. But like what happens is you get someone who doesn't like you. And so they think it's funny he's streaming right now. You know, it'd be hilarious if I call his local police station and report a hostage situation at his house because that's hilarious. And then, the cops bust down your door. I'm downstairs. They bust down my door. My children are upstairs. And they start going through the house aggressively. They bust open my bedroom door. They bust open my kid's door with guns pointed at them. Hopefully they don't have, because their hands are on the trigger because I think it's a hostage situation. So hopefully they don't just see my kids move and freak out and bang bang because they think it's a hostage situation and they have an itchy trigger finger, could kill my kids. Obviously, I'd hear the commotion going on upstairs, so I'd get up and I'd be like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I'd start walking upstairs. How do I know as soon as I turn the corner of the stairs they don't just shoot me? Thinking that I'm like a bad guy. Like it's a very scary situation. Very scary. So people are just dumb. They do that. People have died from it. Not a lot of people, but people have died from being swatted because they're treating it like a hostage situation. They're treating it, like I'm armed and dangerous. So I literally hope it never happens. And again, it doesn't happen to a majority of streamers, but it is always a risk when you're a public figure. And even if I'm not streaming, someone could just randomly swat my house. It's always a fear. Swatting is no joke. People sometimes do, I'm just trying to be funny. It's not funny. You're putting my life, my fiance's life, my children's life in danger when you do that. And I can't get mad at the cops because the cops think I'm raping somebody. The cops think I'm holding, those children. The person might know I have kids and be like, "Oh yeah, he kidnapped kids, kidnapped some children." So they might view the children as hostages. There's a whole. It's so fucked up. My local police department does know that I am a public figure. I called them one time because I received a death threat. I got a death threat through email that I didn't really think much of until they sent me a Google Maps, which easy enough to do. They sent me a Google Maps image of my children's school. So they figured out where my child goes to school, which is interesting because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 elementary schools. And they figured out exactly what school my child goes to, or my children go to. And they sent me a Google Maps image of the school. It's a little scary. It's one thing to send me an image of my house. Okay, cool, you found my address, publicly listed somewhere. Okay? But my children's school? That's fucked up. Because you know how much digging you'd have to do to figure out what fucking school my kids go to? Not that you can't figure it out, but it's like, really? You looked up my fucking kids? Look me up all you want, but you look up my children? That's fucked. I didn't think anything was ever going to happen from it, but I did tell the police department, hey, I'm not trying to file a report. I'm just letting you know I have received some threatening. Here's the email. I have received some threats that sent images of my children's school. I don't think they're might not even be in this country, but yeah. When you bring the kids into it, it's like, man, you bring me into it, bring my house into it, fine. Threaten me, but threaten my kids? They're innocent in anything. It's just dumb. But yeah, that's so the police department does have a record showing that I have called and told them that I'm a public figure, so I got this threat. But that was years ago, so yeah. Dude, the people on the internet can be just fucking nasty, man. I've had God, a dozen death threats dating back a decade. Because before YouTube, I did Zelda fan sites, and I read Zelda Informer, and it was really popular. And I used to get death threats on there because people didn't like my opinions on Zelda games or whatever. It was fucking dumb. People need to find a better way to let their anger out, or I always say, just don't get angry over opinions. Don't get angry over rumors. I never felt like any of the comments that happened after all this Switch Pro stuff were threatening to me. But it would be something like, oh, the Switch Pro didn't get announced. We got Switch OLED. It would be something stupid like that, where someone would email me or message me on Twitter or something and just be threatening, to harm me or harm my family because they got too hyped for a platform that didn't get announced, right? Like, it's like, dude, even if you think I'm lying about all this shit, you don't threaten someone's life. Even, it's dumb. The internet's dumb. I've never actually personally felt like I was ever in danger, but when I got sent the image of my kid's school, I was like, all right, let's not, let's at least let the police know that somebody at least said something to me. Because I don't want to be the guy that's like, yeah, this isn't a real threat, and just pass it off. And next thing you know, there's a shooting at my kid's fucking school in a week, and it's like, oh shit, was that my fault because I didn't tip off the police? Like, maybe I should have did something. So it's always a situation where I want to make sure that, especially if my children are involved, that the authorities at least know, hey, I was threatened. Here's a little heads up, just on the rare off chance that something does happen. Will I please call you? So, homie John, will you please call me Larry of the Lake, my homie brother? I have a meatloaf in the back of my lawnmower, and it's not. Okay, Larry of the Lake. You also live in a van down by the river. Like we can get, you can get irritated by someone like, say, Overthink Gaming, right? He makes videos trashing me, makes tweets trashing me. It's fine. He could trash me all he wants and have his opinions and call me a money grubbing whore or whatever he wants to call me. But he's never been someone that I've ever felt like is threatening me personally. Like, he's just doesn't like me as a content creator and laughs at me. Fine, cool. But even the worst of the troll creators out there that attack or create drama, they've never actually threatened me, But it's always been some random people I've never heard of. You subscribe to the bell on? Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yes, Christopher Lockhart. I have definitely gone down in subs. So at E3, we peaked at on the final day of E3, we peaked at 70,572 subscribers. We are currently at 70,355 subscribers. And you're like, how'd you lose 222 subscribers? E3 ended. People didn't win giveaways. Get pissed. Unsubscribe. That's what started it. And then obviously we lost a ton due to the Switch OLED announcement. And like, as an example, I made that rumor video, right? The day after Switch OLED. Hey, look, some people are saying 2022 here or whatever. And boom, I lost like 80 subscribers off of that video. So pretty much making content on the things I want to make content on is causing me to lose subscribers. So what are you going to do? Since the start of this live stream, I've lost 30 subs. What are you going to do? Why? Probably because I mentioned Switch Pro. I have no idea. Uttering the word Switch Pro on my channel is an automatic 30 sub drop. Guys, I said it again. I still think Switch Pro is going to happen. All right, I'll probably be under 70,000. I'll be down at 70,200 tomorrow. I'll be under 70K in a week. It is what it is. What are you going to do? There's like no way that I could turn that around. The only way it'll ever turn around is if a video goes viral for the right reasons. So my channel's done growing. It's probably going to slowly bleed subscribers for the next 6 months. Welcome to YouTube. So heading into E3, we're doing great. Out of E3, we're kind of crashing. That's just how it goes. I'm still getting more views on my videos than I was before all the E3 stuff, but that doesn't really matter. So, our growth is done. We're done growing. So some people are like, dude, you're going to get 100,000 subscribers this year. I'm like, I kind of saw this coming. This is what happens. You're growing, you're doing really, really well. And then like something quote unquote bad happens, or like some of your rumors are wrong. And all of a sudden your rumors are wrong. You suck. Like, okay, cool. Is it time to panic? Who cares? The real question, have I gone down in members? I don't know. Let's check. Let's go to, let's look at, I haven't looked at members in a while. What's that under again? Oh, I think it's under monetization. Monetization memberships, there it is. I had 131 members at our peak. I still have 131 members. So, haven't lost any members yet. Haven't gained any new ones either. But, or I've lost a couple and gained a couple to counterbalance it. Did the E3 plans backfire? No. What do you mean, why did they backfire? The whole point of the plans wasn't to grow, it was to give away shit. None of that backfired. I gave away shit. Why should I get what should I get for my Switch to protect the Skyward Sword Joy-Con? They make little silicone things you can put on your Joy-Cons. You want to protect them. That's like the best way. If like you don't want to risk making the stuff fade off. They make these little silicone things you can put on your Joy-Cons that'll keep your grime off them. You would go viral if you managed to predict the final Smash Bros. Fighter. No, not even that. Like, say I predicted the final Smash Bros. Fighter and was right. I'm not going to go viral for making a prediction. I'm not going to go viral for being right. Because there's nothing to go viral for. Because once you're right, it's announced. The announcement's going to go viral from Nintendo, not my prediction. Like, if I tell you tomorrow, I predict that it's going to be Crash. That's not going to go viral. Even if it ends up being right, that video is not going to go viral because it's old news. We have the real news. Going viral is completely random. Completely random. I was going viral for a bunch of Super Mario 3D World videos back in September of last year, and I still don't know how that happened. I didn't do anything special. Just any video I made about Super Mario 3D World, you put Super Mario 3D World in the title, instant blow up. And I had no idea why. So it would be nice to get back on the growth path. We had a nice long sustained growth for a couple months. It would be nice to get back on that path, but I don't really know what to do to get back on that path. I just make the content I make, and people either like and subscribe or they don't. I mean, we have a giveaway going. I'd be like, oh, the giveaways. I'm giving away 2 copies of Skyward Sword HD right now. It hasn't really changed anything. We're still losing subscribers like crazy, and you got to be subscribed to win. I'm still losing subs like crazy. That's just how it goes. I try not to worry about it. Like, even my stream views. Guys, remember, all my stream views through E3, I was getting like 250 plus views live during streams. Tonight's been the biggest stream since E3, and we had 145 was our peak. Like, that's nothing. We were getting 250 plus. No problem. The channel has obviously shrunk since those days. The hype has died. That's what I like to say. I've heard people say it's bad to stream on the same channel you upload videos on. That's not true. That's a misnomer. Try to bring Eric time to time. I can't. He literally has his own life and his own job and his own shit going on. We're lucky we even get him for the podcast. More of a chance for me to win! Yeah, I suppose. I suppose if you look at it like that. The bottom line is, like, you look at my channel, right? Let's say for the last 2 months you subscribe, all the rumors, and now you don't like the rumors anymore. I was like, oh, what else can I watch for? Well, here's the thing. We're kind of in a lull of news. Forget rumors. We're sort of in a lull for news. It feels weird, right? We have the Switch OLED. That's right. We have the Switch OLED. And then what? We don't really have any major game news right now. Monster Hunter Stories 2 came out. That's cool. But I don't do game reviews, so that doesn't really matter. For my channel anyways. Donkey Kong's 40th was today, but nothing happened. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what you're supposed to think, you know? Like, I'm just glancing at the news. There's, like, nothing but the OLED. Can't make a video on pre-ordering the OLED yet because you can't. So, like, there's nothing. There's, like, no news worth talking about. So, with no news worth talking about, there's no way to grab people's attention. So, that leads people to be like, all you do is talk about rumors. I'm like, there just isn't anything. There isn't any news. I talk about news. I've been talking about gaming news on this channel for 4 years. There just isn't anything interesting me because there's, like, no actual news happening. Like, we talked about the Skyward Sword quality of life stuff when that came out. That was news I wanted to talk about. We did talk about that. That video did all right. But, like, that was it. Fucking Nintendo Prime. Just out in his island. Here's the thing. You bought an island, you bought a yacht, and you still are giving me single bills? What do you think I am, a stripper? Damn it, Nintendo Prime. What do you think people are calling Skyward Sword HD a port? Because, well, I mean, it's an HD port. It is a port. It's probably being emulated in HD. My brethren and sisterin, the nominal Prime Faithful are departing, but we are the true Prime Faithful and must remain steadfast. I like that. In order for Nate to grow subscribers, we need Philip Mewson or some other fraud to plagiarize. You mean like Boomstick Gaming, how he blew up because of the plagiarization situation? Even more people unsub, I'll always stay subscribed. Well, thanks, Aubrey. Talk about your opinion on games. Is that what you're saying, Seahawks 24 rule? I did. Here's the problem. Why didn't I make a video on my opinion or my impressions or my thoughts on Mario Golf? I did a live stream, but why didn't I make a separate video expressing my thoughts on it? Not necessarily a review, because I don't do reviews, but at least being like, oh yeah, here's what I think. Because it was negative. And when you put negative thoughts in a video like that on a channel full of a bunch of Nintendo, I don't want to say fanboys, but because most of you guys watching the stream aren't like that, but a lot of subscribers are. All it's going to do is lead to less. It'll lead to the subscribers going down more. So that's why I just did it through a live stream. If I had done it in a separate video, I'd probably be under 70,000 subs by now. Because you can't speak ill of Nintendo games in a video. Doesn't mean I won't do it, but at a time that I'm already losing subscribers, it's kind of a bad time to just like pile on. Right? You're already losing subs, so then make a video that's going to make you lose more subs because it's a negative opinion on a Nintendo game. See? So it's like, okay, well, that's just one game. What about more? I'm not playing anything else right now. I haven't touched my Switch since beating Adventure Mode in Mario Golf. Haven't touched it. It's still sitting up in my room where I left it when I finished. Haven't touched it since. I don't have any other games I'm playing right now. I don't own Monster Hunter Stories 2, so can't talk about that. Skyward Sword HD, be playing that next week. I'll be able to talk a bit about that, but I gotta wait. That's a week from now. So like, even when you talk about your impressions on games, well, that's still only like once or twice a month. That's not gonna really grow anything. I'm a news channel. I talk about news and I give opinions on news. That's what I do. I don't really have an interest in live streaming. I don't have an interest in that. It's just not something I'm interested in, and I don't really have the time. Maybe start to get back some of that growth on the lead up to the Game Awards. There'll be a Nintendo Direct at some point. There's just no lead up to a Direct. They just tell you like the day before, hey, Nintendo Direct. And like there'll be rumors in the future, oh, this is when the next Nintendo Direct is, right? Like there'll be rumors for that. Those rumors always exist. I'm surprised we don't have some of those rumors right now, to be honest. Maybe because E3 just happened, so it'll be a couple months before those rumors come back. I could see you and Eric or you and a guest doing competitions. What do you think about doing that? Time. If you wonder why I make what I do, for starters, I enjoy it. But beyond all of that, it's just what fits in my schedule. Organizing things with other people does not fit in my schedule. You gotta remember, I have a job, I have YouTube, I have 3 children, and I have a fiance. I don't have, and college, during college, I don't have time to organize that kind of. You know how long it took just to organize E3, and that was just with Eric. I can't. Yeah, I just don't have time. But beyond all that, here's the biggest thing, guys. I don't care if I never gain another subscriber. You know the joy of how I approach YouTube right now? I do this for fun. Sure, it's fun growing, right? I mean, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, yeah, I don't like that I'm at 70K. But I'd like to be at 100K. I'd like to be at 500K. Growth is fun. But it's not why I make videos. I just enjoy doing it. These live streams, it could be 20 people. It could be the 140 we had earlier, the 95 we have right now. I just enjoy it. I have fun. So it's like, it doesn't really matter anymore. I'm in college. I got another job. When I'm done with college, I'll have a different job. What are you going to do, you know? It's life. I enjoy it. And as long as I enjoy it, I'm going to keep doing it. And when I stop enjoying it, I'm going to stop doing it. So yeah, like, oh, we're not growing right now. Who gives a fuck? I mean, I don't. If I cared about growth, I would never talk about Switch Pro again. But you know, I'll probably just be back at it again tomorrow. So if I feel like talking about it tomorrow, I'm going to talk about it, right? Like I talk about what I want to talk. The whole point of this channel's existence is to talk about what the fuck I want to talk about, even if you don't want to hear it. It's not about you, it's about me. What are your thoughts on a new Breath of the Wild 2 trailer at the Game Awards? Not that we need a new trailer, but it would be cool, and I think Bill said we get more info leading to the release. Bill did say in the coming months to a year we will get more info. I think getting a new trailer at the Game Awards is highly probable. We saw Breath of the Wild at the Game Awards 2014. I think we're gonna see it there too. I was just saying that you were having fun that way too. Oh, with the competitions? Yeah. But that was like a show. So you got to remember about E3 is I had fun during E3. There was some stress. Clearly, you could see it. We had some stress during E3, but it was a show that took 2 months of planning to put together. So that's a little different. That was a show. I don't do shows for like as an example. I want to do Here's the News again. I like Here's the News. There's not enough news right now. Like if I can't even find one story I'm interested in every day, how am I supposed to find 5 or 6? You know? But I'm good. I made the content I want to make. I didn't make a video yesterday because there wasn't anything that happened to make a video on. Does that mean I lost out on revenue yesterday? Absolutely. Does it matter? Who cares? Game Awards is December. We don't have a date yet, I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure we don't have a date yet. Sometime in December. 1 week till Skyward Sword HD! Whoop, whoop! Yeah, buddy! Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please start your engines. Skyward Sword hype begins now.
So the YouTube perfectly cut out you throwing the bottle. Yeah, I have no idea. What the fuck was up with that? I chuck a bottle and YouTube cuts it out. It was dumb. It was considered too violent for YouTube. It was too violent to throw a bottle. Hype train! David Haney going to choo-choo! Here comes the train. Blippi has forever invaded my mind. Welcome to being a parent. Fuck you, yes. And the bottle throw is what's cut out. Actually, I think I said fuck you, E3. I don't even remember. Funny thing is, I still have the E3 tapestry from the final day on the wall. That has to come down. I'm wearing an E3 shirt. I got too much E3 crap in this house. E3 badges, go burn them. I'm not gonna burn my badges. So those are memories, but so are the tapestries. Really, they're memories too of a great show we put on. This tapestry can be reused next E3 though. Hey! Thank you, Josh Walker, for the $20 Australian. Says, you keep doing you, Nate. It's good not worrying about what people think. Speaking about not worrying about what people think. Wait, what's this? You worry the button controls are always tied to handheld mode? No. They've already said it's going to be on pro controllers and all that stuff. No, you're fine. They've already confirmed all that. You don't have anything to worry about. That's just marketing because light is the, you're more likely to do it. I don't know. Don't worry about it. Suppose I got to get that shot going, right? Shot. Everybody! And no, we're still not close to the $100. We're at like 60 something. Still not close to it, so. Oh, that is the final. We are empty. We have emptied it. Not all of today, of course. The Rum Chata 1.75. Time to put you to rest, my boy. He lay you in your grave. Eric's chair that he hasn't sat in since E3. Good night, sweet prince. Thanks for the $20. I appreciate it. Is the OLED switch thick enough? I mean, it's the same thickness as the current switch. What happens when we get to 100? Oh! I do a shot of cock. I mean, it's Swaza Tequila Silver imported with a cock on it. So we do a shot of this when we get to $100 in Super Chat revenue. We probably won't get there today, though, and that's all right. I mean, we got there on my birthday stream. But, I mean, that was my birthday. Usually, if I ever do a stream for, like, a birthday, the anniversary of our channel and then my birthday, those usually always get, like, at least $100 in Super Chats on those nights. Those are, like, special events. Like, an average stream of mine doesn't do $100. You bought that rum chata and showed it off on stream. It wasn't actually that. Can you believe it, Natsu? And that was 6 weeks ago. So I know it feels like it was just yesterday, but that's because I haven't really been streaming much since E3. I mean, we were streaming Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I've barely been streaming since E3, so most of that was drank before E3. Do you think Bandai will release any new anime games? Like we saw DBZ and Demon Slayer being released. But what anime would they bring out next? I have no idea. I don't know. I don't follow Bandai enough to know what they're working on, and I don't follow anime anything that much. Like when Dragon Ball Z Kakarot was announced for Switch, I had to look up what that was again because I don't pay attention to DBZ. Am I feeling tipsy? So I've done what, like 4 shots or 5 shots of rum chata. There's like 13% alcohol in that, and I finished off half a beer. The beer is right here. You can feel it. Am I feeling tipsy? There's not enough booze here to make me tipsy. The only thing that can get me tipsy is this, because it's the only booze I have left besides beer. And there's no way in fuck we're doing enough of this tonight, because it requires getting to $100 in super chat revenue, and then to do more shots of this requires $100 super chats. So for me to get drunk, it would be like, okay, we get $47 in more super chats to get the first shot in, and then I would need three $100 super chats on top of that to do 3 more shots of this to make me drunk. It ain't happening. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There will be no tipsy tonight. I mean, I shouldn't say that, but it's very unlikely. We don't get streams of that kind of revenue that often. If we get over 102 shots. No. What can happen, technically, is if someone, this has been a rule the whole time, if someone does a $100 super chat right now, I do a shot for the $100 super chat, plus that shot, plus that money, put us over $100 total, so then that would be 2 shots. But no, I don't do 2 shots for just hitting 100. That's not the rules. I made the rules. I can change them, obviously, but that's that. I keep that rule for a reason. There's a reason I keep that rule. I gotta watch out for myself. Excuse me. There's rum in it. Like if I drank that whole 1.75, I'd probably feel it a little bit. Very tempting. Yeah, I'm sure it's that tempting. Do I think Game Boy will come to Switch Online? Probably not. You're making this difficult. I always make things difficult. Just call me old difficult prime over here. Just like, look at this. I got this oofda. I wonder if I'll ever have enough shots in here at once to hit the top. So the ratings go Lars Libation, Swen's Sarsaparilla. To have 3 shots in here is Nell's Nectar. 4 shot is Nuts. No, wait, no, it's Knut's Knooper. 5 shots in here, if I have it up to 5 shots, is how do you say that? Bjorn? It's BJORN. I don't know if there's a way to say that. Bjorn's Benzine. And then Ollie's Ovaltine is 6. And technically you can go up to a 7, but there's no name up there. You spent all your super chat money at E3. Yeah, dude, E3 was nuts. How much more to 100? Yeah, Josh Walker's right, 47. How's Yulia doing? She's at work. Bjorn? Is that what it is? Is it Bjorn? I never know how to pronounce this. I know it's like Nordish. Or is it German? I have no idea. I just see a Viking on here, so I'm like, whatever the Vikings are. What happens if I hit 1,000? We've never hit 1,000. So I have no idea. Now, we came close. The last day of E3, over the course of a 17-hour live stream, we had $952 super chatted. Most ever, and I don't think that record's ever going to be broken. So, yeah, never had 1,000. Probably never will. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. That's like people's rent and shit. You need to save for the OLED. Bjorn. That's how you do it. Okay. I'll try to remember that since I own the glass now. So it's Bjorn. Benzine. Bjorn's Benzine. It needs to be easier to get you to drink. It usually is. You guys know I usually have tiers, right? Like I have, anything under 5 is beer or Bud Light Seltzer. And then 5 is, just a little bit step up, something that's light, like 12%, 13% alcohol. And then usually at 10 or 15, I have another step up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The thing is, I'm out of everything. So, this is all I got left for hard liquor. I don't think I have anything else left. Let me look. Nope, that's out. These are like my little bottles I bought for before E3. Those are all, I think everything I have is out. I don't think there's anything in the upstairs fridge either. Oh, there is a bottle of wine. Like a small bottle of wine that is a higher percentage. But I don't think I have anything else. I think I'm out of everything. Can't help it. I'm a broke biatch at the moment. I don't have any other booze right now. Is what it is. I don't usually keep a lot of booze. I do like one booze run and then that's like it, and it's just for live streams for like a couple months. I don't really otherwise if I didn't stream I wouldn't have like anything in the house. Really. Maybe some beer, but don't really drink at home. I remember when you used to drink for every donation. I do. Josh, I do tonight. It's just beer shots. I've been doing it all night. Where have you been? We've just only gone through half a beer. Well, this is a bigger beer. This is a 16 ounce, not a 12, I think. But am I hyped for the cruise? Yes and no. I'm excited, but I'm not going to be hyped until I have Yulia's passport confirmed as renewed. Been over this situation before. It's not renewed yet. She's not born in the... It's a closed loop cruise. So I technically don't need a passport. I need my birth certificate and my driver's license. She's not born in the U.S., so that doesn't work for her. And her green card and her passport are both 10 years expired, 10 plus years expired. It's going to cost $180 to renew her passport, assuming that they let her renew it without an active green card. Her green card is $540 to renew. But I don't have that. I don't have money for either one. Now next week we're gonna have the money to do the passport for her, and we're hoping if they'll let us renew it without renewing her green card, that's awesome. So we're hopeful, but we don't know. We don't know. So that's kind of a whole thing that she might not be able to get on the damn boat. Now, what's going to happen if I can't get her passport renewed is I'm going to call Royal Caribbean, because we're going on a Royal Caribbean cruise, and I'm going to talk with them, and I'll be like, look, here's our situation. What can we do to get her on the ship? It's a closed loop ship, so she just needs to get on. They don't check your birth certificate to get back on the boat, right? Once you're on the boat, you can get back on the boat while you're on the cruise. That's not a problem. It's the initial check-in to get on the boat. You need to get past that. So if I can't get the passport thing, I'm going to call me like, what the fuck? What can we do? She literally is a U.S. citizen. She's a permanent U.S. citizen. But her green card's expired. Can we use an expired passport? Can we use this? Can we use that? Like, what can we do? You know? She doesn't have the $1,700 in paperwork that needs to be done. So what do we do? Is her social security card good enough? Can we just use that? Can I grab her name from a bill? Something. Her tax return. We'll bring her whole fucking tax return that proves she's a U.S. citizen and pays taxes. Like, can we do that? But I don't know. We're going to try to renew her passport, and if that doesn't work, then... Speaking of awesome... Thank you, Josh Walker, for the $5 Australian. Thank you, man. You guys can pile up the super chats, by the way. Like, if you're like, I got to do multiple super chats to get a flow. You can do them in a row, and I just filled this up higher and higher and higher. I can put up to 7 shots in here. So that's like a shot and a half in there. But like, you can do multiple, and I can just fill this up all the way to the top. There it is. I was gonna say I need to do multiple. I'm like, well, you don't have to wait. All right, there's 2 shots in there. I don't know how well you guys can see the line. Can you kind of see the lines? I'm not really sure. I'd probably have to bring it closer to the camera. I don't know how well the lines show up. It's kind of clear. But we're at the second line. The third line. Oh my God. Here it goes. Oh, geez, I poured that wrong. Hold on. I'll let the head settle down for a second. Wait, how many is that, Josh? Holy shit. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold up. 1, 2, 3. We gotta keep going. 5. Oh my God. We're gonna fill this thing up all the way, aren't we? I'm gonna fill this bad boy up all the way. What's I put us at? 1, 2, 3, 4. Can I go up at least one more? 5. Hold on. I gotta go back and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Holy shit. That's the final line, but as you see, there's still room. Probably fit a 7th in there. What is this? Oh my God. Is he trying to get me to 100? Holy shit. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that fills up the whole thing. That's the rest of the beer, I think. Oh, no, there's still a little bit left in there. Still a little bit. Yep, there it is. Got a crack into the beer. Oh my God, Josh Walker, what are you doing? We're gonna be in party mode for a while. Holy shit. All right, let me. Here we go. It is filled. I didn't think that was gonna get filled today. It is filled. All right, here we go. Ready, set. Oh. Whew. Didn't throw up there. I had a really bad burp. That was like a that was almost like doing a shotgun. It felt like a shotgun. That was a lot of beer. All right, so I see some more. Holy shit. Hold on. Did I miss? You said that's 10. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Holy shit. I owe him 3 more. Well, let me pour the rest of this one. That's 1. So I'm going to save this one. Because, folks, it happened! Grabbing the cock. He's stroking the lid. Josh Walker, what's wrong with you? This one is for you, Josh Walker. That is the cockiest cotton juice I've ever seen. You wonder why it's twice? That's because there was a smidge of rum chata at the bottom. It's curdling. Ah! Drink responsibly. Ah. Oh. Well, thanks. On a more serious note, thank you, Josh Walker. That was $48 in total USD. I know the exact exchange rates between Aussie. For you, I think that was about 50 Australian, but or 55, whatever it was. Thank you so much for your support. God, my eyes are watering. You want to know why? There's like a little bit of the okay. So when I did the little stroke in the cock thing as a joke, so there was apparently tequila on the outside of that. Like must have spilt down it from a prior stream. So now my hand smells like tequila. So every time it comes close to my nose, it's like, oh God, I smell the tequila. The things I do on live stream, huh? I literally would not do shots of tequila for fun with friends. Okay, that's not true. We used to finish off bottles of Patron when I was younger, but I'm not young anymore. I'm not 21 anymore. Josh Walker, you know what, Josh? Give me a moment. Hold up. Well, I'll do that beer shot here. He said, "So we are even, and you can't get me on a technicality of exchange rate." Well, we were at 101 before that. Yeah, I think you did 55, right? Yeah, we were at 101. It wasn't a technicality. I would not have done the shot if we were on a technicality under the exchange rate. Let me get this quick. Josh, I'm gonna do something here for you. Well, give me a moment. I'm gonna write a little song for you, and I'm gonna sing you a little ditty. Give me a moment. I gotta let my creative juices flow here. Sorry, I'm finishing writing this song here. All right, got it. Got it. I got your song. I got your song. It's down. It's happening. This one's for you, Josh. On July 9th, I had the best time of my life. At least that's what I thought. Because of the donations Josh Walker brought. But then the tequila came, and I began to regret my reign as the live streaming champion. But Josh Walker donations are like popping an Ambien. Thank you for your lovely support. I still don't know why I'm such a dork. Hey, another one. Oh, pop that champagne. Woo! Thank you, Brian C, for the $4.99. Thanks for cheering me up with the torture of renovation with my friend. Still tired, but at least in a better mood. That's good. I'm glad that things are going well, man. I'm glad the renovation went well, even though it was a little bit of torture. Thanks, no problem, man. That was a perfect song, dude. I can't believe that in the song on my stream I came up with a way to include the word Ambien. Now I have written a number of little ditties in my life. Never has the word Ambien been thrown into my lyrics. Why was Ambien thrown in? I just couldn't think of anything to rhyme with champion. I was like, technically every line doesn't have to rhyme. You can do every third line. None of them have to rhyme, but it sounds better that way. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, the sleepy medicine. Yeah, the sleepy medicine. I guess you could say alcohol is like an Ambien. I guess that's probably what I should have went with the alcohol angle as an Ambien. Later, Alexis Aho. Have a good night. Paul Gale Network. How's it going, man? Bowling Bodie, A+. I was all right with that little ditty off the top of my head. Not too bad. It's curdling. Yeah. Yeah, it was. I couldn't really taste it. Tequila overwhelmed. Tequila massively overwhelmed the little bit of rum shot at the bottom. It's 1958 construction. Everything is a problem. Oh, the buildings from like 1958. Feels like this house. When I tear down the walls in this place to like really take it down to the studs and actually remodel the whole house. There's so much wrong with this house. I just try to ignore it. Like I can't as an example, the electric panel's so bad I can't run 2 stovetops and the oven at the same time or it flips the breaker in the entire house. So if I'm baking something, like say I got some like potatoes I'm baking in the oven, and then I got 2 burners going at once. Boop! Lose power in the whole house. What doesn't tequila overpower? That's true. Tequila is a very strong, distinct flavor. I wonder what David Haney said that he retracted. All right, I suppose it's about that time, right? I still have to go put a little. We have like a miniature like baby bouncy house my kids have been playing with the last day out in the yard. I really gotta go put that away before someone steals it, unless someone already stole it. I probably should get that put away. But thank you guys. Tequila. Blah. Should be drinking Bang this late, but whatever. Ugh. Can't get rid of it. What time is it over here? 11:26 p.m. The sheetrock was half-inch plaster over it everywhere. The wall literally doesn't care about sledgehammer until you hit like 6, 7. Oh, dude, that sucks, man. I don't have that problem here. It's just sheetrock. We don't have plaster. but everything's wired wrong on the wrong. I mean, the electrical is really the huge problem in this house. The panel needs to be replaced and all the wiring needs to be redone. The plumbing needs to be entirely replaced. I can tell the house is sank a little bit. Like, you can't really tell. I can tell because I've been taking a level to the foundation. But, like, the foundation has sunk in a little bit over here. Now, there's not really much you can do about that. You can technically dig up on the side of the house and then, like, lift, or not, you can lift the foundation and then, like, pack underneath it. But that's probably never going to get fixed. The deck needs to be entirely just torn down and redone. There's so much work. The house needs to be, it needs a completely new siding. The house needs to be torn down to its studs, inside and out, and basically rebuilt. And even parts of the frame might even need to be replaced. So yeah, it needs to be torn down to the studs like you're building a new house. Isn't that insane? It's so insane to me. Ramjack, yeah. Ramjack for the win. Nice. I replaced an outlet in my house, and there was literally 2 random wires sitting in the box. That could be for a number of things. I'd have to see the wires. Some outlets have like wires where it could be a phone jack and an outlet. Some have wires where it could be a phone jack and Ethernet, but it just doesn't have the cap. There's a lot of different things it could be. Some houses are wired where each outlet has a different power source. So like you might hook it up and the top outlet might be a light switch one and the bottom one might not be if you hook up both. There's a whole lot of different reasons to have extra wires in there. But yeah, there's a lot. This place is just fucked. I can't afford it. It's like 60, 70 grand and shit to do. The driveway needs to be completely redone. The driveway is shit. It's pothole city. It's so bad. I basically fill it in with sand and just hope that we don't break our car. They didn't ground it. Yeah, dude, that happens. I guarantee you none of the light fixtures in my house are grounded. Guaranteed none of the light fixtures in this house are grounded. I replaced one light fixture and it wasn't grounded, and I'm like, yeah, I bet you nothing in this house is grounded at all. This house is just one electrical fire waiting to happen. And it sucks. Like, we joke about how, it'd be nice if it went up, insurance money, but also it would suck because the insurance money is nice, but it's not going to replace the stuff, you know? It'll replace the house. It won't replace the stuff in the house. But we probably aren't staying here forever. I don't know if we're ever going to fully remodel and renovate this place. It needs a lot of work, and it needs so much work that I think we'd rather just build a new house or buy another house that's in way better shape eventually. Plus, we want a bigger house. We don't mind the location, but we want a bigger house, and we can't really expand this one because of these massive power lines in the backyard. We can't really make this house any bigger. We want a bigger place. Believe it or not, even once our kids move out, we want a bigger place. It's weird, right? Like, why do we just want the space? Especially since, one thing is I have a YouTube studio, and I would like to I'd like to design a house from the ground up where I can kind of design how I want my studio instead of making my studio fit. I would rather design a place where I could have my YouTube studio the way I would like it. That's one nice thing when you build your own house. You can design a lot of like I would like the bathroom the way I want it. We don't like the way the bathrooms are in this place. Ruin the rental helmet from that. Highly advise just building something. Yeah, it's a lot easier to go new. One, when you build new, you hire contractors, so you don't have to do a lot of the work. You can do your own sheetrocking and stuff like that to save money, of course. Like I don't have a problem with that. You know, someone else does the foundation and all that stuff, and they can do the roofing and siding. But then, like, if I do my own sheetrocking, I'm okay with that. Dude, sheetrocking's not that bad to do. It's really not. So it can be a pain in the ceiling, especially. It can be a pain in the ass, but it's not, you know, hard. It's just tedious. And then you gotta paint it all, and that's always fucking tedious. Even when you have the fucking spray, it's still fucking tedious. Just like if I put in my own flooring, it's not that I can't do it. It's just fucking tedious, time consuming. But you save money on labor, you know. So, but yeah, we'll probably eventually build our own place and have it exactly the way we want. Hopefully. You think that, and then you build it, and you're like, oh, you wish you would have did this. You wish you would have did that. Am I going to stream Skyward Sword HD when it comes out? Probably. You can't use your garage as a garage? Is there a reason for that, Christopher? I mean, you don't have to tell me. We use ours as a garage. Well, we have winter. We have to have. I mean, we don't. We lived in an apartment complex where we parked our car outside all the time in the winter. And what was nice is when we lived there is that the apartment owner had a plow, come and plow out the driveway. That was nice. Because, you know, here we have to shovel and shit. But it's whatever. Now we can park our nicer car. Because we have a 2013 Dodge Durango Citadel that's fully decked out. And yeah, I get it's like an 8-year-old car. But, dude, it's nice. Nicest car we've ever owned. So we like that we can put that in a garage, especially in the winter. Still paying it off, of course. We just bought it last July. So we've had it for a year. We're getting there on the payments. The payments are under control. Thankfully. So hopefully we'll have it paid off next year. Because we need to get a second car that works. We have a second car, a 2006 Malibu. But the engine's out on it. And it conked out before 100,000 miles. So I keep debating with myself if I just want to buy a new engine for it. Or if I say screw it and I just go buy the car I want to buy. We can't afford multiple car payments right now, so that's like a thing. Concrete in the floor collapsed. Oh, dude, that sucks. That sucks, man. Your outlet in your room doesn't have a cover, and since the outlet is sticking out of the wall cut, you can't put a cover on it. So you mean like, okay, so you have the faceplate. I assume that's what you mean by the cover. You can't put the face, because like not having a faceplate isn't the end of the world. But it not being like attached to the wall and like jutting out, that's a problem. You don't want that. You don't want it just dangling. Is it like dangling there? You don't want your outlet just dangling there. You should find a way to attach it to your wall. Even if it's all stripped out and rotted or whatever, you should find a way to do that. Like again, not having the cover just looks ghetto as hell. But you technically don't need like all the outlet faceplate covers that you have in your house. You don't need them. It's an aesthetic thing. Technically, you don't need those covers. They don't actually really protect anything. It's just aesthetics. But you do want the outlet like not dangling there. That you don't want, because that's bad. Because that gives an ability to like potentially rip the wire out of the outlet, and then you can have an electrical fire. You don't have a garage and you own a convertible. Never buy a convertible if you live in an area with frequent rain and snow. So, my fiance's parents have a convertible that I drive sometimes during the summer just for fun. They just put it in the garage all winter. It's not that big a deal if you live in a place with snow. You just don't drive it in the winter. Usually, if you have it here, like in Wisconsin, just have a garage. And if you don't have a garage, there's places you can rent for the winter, like $100. Literally, it's like $100 for like 3 months. And you can rent a place and just park your car in there. It's sticking out of the wall, and I'm afraid to plug something in. I don't want to touch it. Okay, so Amor, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. All you do is you go to a different outlet in the room, or the light switch in the room, and you go to your breaker, and you flip the switch on the breaker. You keep flipping switches on the breaker until your light switch in your room doesn't work anymore. And if you've flipped the switch in your breaker where the light switch doesn't work anymore, you have probably highly likely turned off the electricity to your outlet as well. Then you don't need to be afraid to touch the outlet. Then you can go in there and get that outlet properly attached to the wall, put a faceplate on if you want. You don't need to. You can literally have the outlet active and be touching that entire thing. You're not going to get electrocuted. You're not going to get electrocuted plugging something into it. I'm telling you. Unless the wire is exposed, you're not going to get electrocuted. I'm letting you know right now, you won't. But if you're afraid, you can turn off the power to a room. And you can reattach it and take care of that. That's what the breaker's for. I'm not an electrician, but like I've messed with this stuff in my house before, especially this house. I've done a lot of work on this house just to make it in a state that I feel is safe enough for my kids. If I didn't have kids, I might not have cared as much, but yeah, replacing outlets isn't a big deal. Replacing light fixtures, light switches, none of that's hard to do. It's all really easy. People get more scared than they should be about it. But I guess if you don't know what you're doing, like obviously, if you leave the wire live, and you're dealing with live wires while you're changing it out, like, well, yeah, that can be dangerous. It doesn't mean anything's going to happen. If you're wearing certain types of gloves, you're fine, usually, as long as you don't touch the wires together. But even if you do touch the wires together, it doesn't mean you're going to have a fire or anything. There'll be a spark. A really big spark. But yeah, it's really not that hard. You just have to flip the breaker. And if you're not sure, you can just turn power off to the whole house. So in your breakers, there's the ones like for like different rooms and different sections and different appliances. And there's the main breaker. If you're really unsure because nothing's labeled and you can't figure it out, because that happens sometimes where like it's not labeled or it's labeled incorrectly or the label has faded over time so you can't tell what's what and you can't figure it out. This place is wired like shit. So if I flip the breaker that turns off 2 of the outlets in my room, it's only 2 of the outlets in my room, it turns off 2 of the outlets in here. Why the fuck is my house wired that way? Why is one breaker turn off 2 outlets in my room but not the rest of the power in my room, but then also turn off 2 outlets in my basement? My room's over here, and it turns off this outlet and this outlet. They're way away from each other. Who did that? It's extra work to wire your house that way. Why would you wire it that way? It's stupid. This house is wired stupidly. If I turn on a light switch, 3 rooms over, it turns on the lights in here. Or if I flip the light switch in here, it turns on a light in the other room. Why? This house is wired so stupidly. Ugh. So another thing you can do is just turn off the main breaker. There's a big breaker that controls your entire house. You flip that, there's no power anywhere in your house. Power just shuts off. That's always the big go-to. As an example, if our house is flooding, and for some reason, because we have a in-ground pump system, right? We pump water out. We don't have city water. If I flip the breaker for the pump, and for some reason the breaker is labeled incorrectly, and I can't figure out which breaker it is to shut off the water pump as my house is flooding, I can just flip the main breaker. That shuts everything down, and then the pump will stop. I had to do that once because the fucking shit's labeled incorrectly, and it's just dumb. But yeah, Taker 610. The Switch era is like having only the Game Boy and Super Game Boy instead of the Game Boy and SNES. Not your ideal situation. I disagree. I'm gonna tell you why I disagree. You know what's great about the Switch era? And it's fine. You were the one earlier that said you want them to make a home console. I'm going to tell you what's great about the Switch era. What I love about Nintendo Switch era is for the first time in Nintendo's history, all their game development is on a single platform. So what does that mean? We're getting games more consistently from Nintendo for one platform. Look what's happening in 2022. We wouldn't be getting that if they had 2 separate platforms. It wouldn't happen. At this point, for this platform, they'd basically be done making games. Since all their efforts aren't put towards one platform, it also creates a lot of inconsistency in their development pattern. See, the advantage Sony has had all these years since they didn't really take PSP or Vita seriously, all of their money was put towards developing games essentially for one platform, which has enabled them now to catch up in a lot of ways in terms of the number of exclusives and the quality of those exclusives because they only worry about the one platform. Now that Nintendo, for the first time in their history, is only worrying about the one platform, they now are seeing the fruits of that labor, not only in the sales of that platform, but also in terms of game development and how many years of support that platform gets and the number of releases it gets. I know the running joke is, oh, Wii U ports. There's actually a shitload of exclusives. It's a complete misnomer that Switch is primarily made up of Wii U ports. It's not. It's outnumbered by Switch exclusives like 5-1. Those are the Lowe's employees when you're working on outlets. Oh yeah. It's not really even Lowe's. It could be Menards. It could be any hardware store guy. They're trying to convince you to buy things that you might not need, or they just literally don't know what they're doing. When you're doing outlet work, you don't really even need. To be completely honest, to replace an outlet, you barely need any tools. You can do simple, basic hand tools, pair of pliers, wire strippers, just basic shit. You don't need much to change an outlet out. You probably already have, if you're an adult human with tools, you probably already have the tools you need. You could literally just look up YouTube how to change an outlet. And find a reputable video that'll show you what to do. It sounds like a house designed for police interrogations. Dude, this house is fucked up. I've never been shocked by an outlet in the U.S., Christopher, ever. Now, have I seen a spark? Yes, I have seen a spark before, but I've never actually been shocked personally by an outlet. Don't stick metal in an outlet. I mean, I literally have never been shocked by an outlet in the U.S. Wired that way to keep ghosts from another room from catching you as you run away? Yeah, the basement's the worst. The basement's wired really bad. The upstairs is wired pretty bad too, but you don't notice it as much. For some reason, we have 4 switches for one light fixture upstairs for some ungodly reason, and 2 of the switches are right next to each other. Why is there 2 switches right next to each other for the same light? You're like, oh, maybe one turns on the light, one turns on the ceiling fan. Nope. Because, like, you know, the light fixture is the ceiling fan fixture in our dining room. Nope. Nope. They both just control the light. The ceiling fan is not on a switch at all. It's just on a pull chain. It's always active. Pull the chain, turn it on. Pull the chain, turn it off. 1 speed. We never use it. Probably should use it more often. It does work. But covered a cool launch a few weeks ago. Hiroshi Yamauchi's Legacy website. Oh yeah, I saw that. Have you checked it out? I haven't seen your coverage on it, but I did hear about that. Nice. Don't own Switch, but I want to. Should I wait for the OLED model? DPAN 712. So if you don't own a Switch at this point, what I would do, DPAN 712 101. What I would do, the Switch OLED's totally worth getting if you don't own a Switch. Wait for pre-orders. Because pre-orders are going to go up first. If you can get DPAN 712 101, if you can get a pre-order in for it, you're set. Just wait for October. It comes out literally the same day as Metroid Dread. It's 3 months away. Might as well just wait. If you can get a pre-order. If you can't get a pre-order, you ain't getting the system this year. I'm going to let you know right now. You will not get a Switch Pro this year. Or Switch Pro, sorry. I'm going to Switch Pro. You're not going to get a Switch OLED this year if you don't get a pre-order in. So I would try to get a pre-order in. And if you don't, then at that time be like, okay, do I really want to wait till maybe possibly summer of next year to get one? Or do I just want to go buy, I don't know, a Switch Lite to tide me over? Or something, right? So, because it's going to be impossible. If you don't get a pre-order in, good luck. Even though it's oh, but why? It's just scalpers and There's still pandemics some places in the world. It's gonna be a cluster F to get this thing. And it's funny because like it shouldn't be, but it's going to be. It's gonna be sold out. It's gonna be sold out for months. So if you can get a pre-order in, absolutely, just get it. Might as well. It's the best Switch has ever been. But so I'd say get it if you can. If you can't get a pre-order in, then that's where the decision comes in. How long am I willing to wait to get my hands on an OLED model versus I just really want to play games now? Yeah. As Birdman said, like, yeah, try to get a pre-order. If you can't, then the decision becomes more complicated if you can't get a pre-order in. Let's fun fact, Sony had 6 million PlayStation 5s at launch. It wasn't about not having bad stock of PlayStation 5. The demand for consumer electronics during the pandemic is at an all-time unprecedented high in the history of humankind. There was no way anyone could have projected that was going to happen. So it has nothing to do with Sony underprovided. No, they didn't. Sony provided more units than they usually do. Just because demand is at a level that's never been, it's unprecedented. Even to this day, PlayStation 5 demand is still unprecedented. This has never happened before. So I can't get mad at Sony for not planning for something that's never happened before. Right? Like, oh, I'm so bad at Sony. They've never seen demand like this right away. It's never happened. Selling out, yeah, that happens at the launch. Wii U sold out at launch. Like, selling out happens at launch. But not for this long. Sony never saw this coming. The demand is insane. Graphics cards have never been sold out at this level before in the history of PC components. In the history of PC gaming, it has not been this hard to get a graphics card. Demand is just at an unprecedented level right now. Still, to this day. People are fighting and clawing and paying scalper money for things that were never been able to be successfully scalped before outside of launch. Oh, sure, a 3090 would have been able to be scalped day one, but within a month, you'd be able to go walk into a store and buy one. Walk into a, PC parts store and buy one. Demand is at an unprecedented level. And unfortunately, the chip manufacturers are maxed out. So they can't make them any faster than they already are because there's not available production lines to do it. They're screwed. Nobody can make things any faster than they already are right now today. Nobody. Because the chip lines are maxed out. And new chip lines won't be around for another 2-3 years. So everything's at 100% capacity. What are you going to do? Crash XD, can this man please respond to my goddamn question? What question? First off, you didn't ping me in the chat, Crash XD, so there's that. You didn't at me to highlight it. 2, do you think Nintendo is the king of disappointment when it comes to powerful hardware? Do I think they're the king of disappointment? Got a question for you, Crash XD. I'm assuming that this is like not a troll question, but like trying to be like a gotcha question for a Nintendo YouTuber. Do you think Nintendo's the king of disappointment when it comes to making powerful hardware? They haven't made powerful hardware since the launch of the GameCube. And what was that? 2000? When did the GameCube launch? GameCube release date 2001. So it's been 20 years and you haven't let it go yet? They haven't launched quote unquote powerful hardware in 20 years. Think about that. I was 15 the last time they launched powerful hardware. Think about that for a moment. I was 15 years old, freshman in high school, last time they launched powerful hardware. So for a majority of my life, more of my life than not, Nintendo hasn't released powerful hardware. So are they a disappointment when you talk about, are they the king of disappointment when it comes to powerful hardware? I don't expect them to release powerful hardware. Because they don't. They haven't in 20 years. Why would they suddenly do that now? Why does anyone expect them to release powerful hardware when Wii U, DS, 3DS, Switch, 5 straight hardware generations, they haven't done that? At this point, why would you expect them to? So when you say, do you think Nintendo's the king of disappointment when it comes to making powerful hardware? They don't make powerful hardware. So how can you be disappointed? You shouldn't expect them to. If you're expecting Nintendo to make powerful hardware, then I would say, where have you been the last 20 years? That's not what Nintendo does. They haven't done that since GameCube. So if you expect Nintendo to make powerful hardware, what have you been doing the last 2 decades? Now, this isn't a recent thing. What have you been doing the last 2 decades? Not paying attention? They don't do what the other people do because they don't do it as well as they do it. So, Nintendo does something different. And funnily enough, traditionally, the company that makes the weaker hardware sells the best. PlayStation 2, speaking of powerful hardware, back when they launched GameCube, PlayStation 2 is the weakest system of that generation. It's the best-selling system of all time. Wii, weakest system of the generation. Best-selling of that generation. PlayStation 4 was like one of the first times that the more powerful hardware sold best. That's like never happened in the history of consoles. The weakest one always sold best. PlayStation 4 flipped the script on that. And now, right now, there's a huge debate over what PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, which one's more powerful. There's a big debate. Like, one's faster in some ways, one's faster in a different way, blah, 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 blah. That's like comparing like a Granny Smith apple to a red apple, right? Like they're both fucking apples. Which flavor do you enjoy? All right, I gotta go. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's been a good stream. You guys have a lovely night. Catch you later. Peace.